Woman is behind bars facing terror charges. She's accused of plotting to bomb the state capitol in Albany.
Her name, Jessica Bowie, a 35-year-old Albany resident who converted to Islam 5 years ago, now charged with starting her plot last month. Prosecutors say Bowie bought items to build a bomb at a nearby Home Depot, including getting nails, and she planned to put the bomb inside a DoorDash bag.
That's Fox's Eric Shawn. America's listening to Fox News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep in a traditional bed? Experience Z-Cliner, the revolutionary recliner by FlexSteel. The Z-Cliner was engineered with restful sleep in mind. A healthy life starts with a healthy night's sleep. Z-Cliner is more than just a recliner, featuring custom power adjustments like recline, headrest, lumbar, heat, massage. It's a personalized comfort experience. Z-Cliner is a sleep solution backed by FlexSteel's durability that you can trust, delivering unmatched comfort, technology, and support. Visit zcliner.com to find a retailer near you.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. That's the way Tug does it. I didn't do it well yesterday. It's Tug and Los. It is an improvement.
You need some more twang.
I do need some more twang. You hear that voice? That's Victor. Victor Almendarez, who's with us this morning. Thank you, Victor, for coming on.
Man,
this is the first time you and I get to do a show.
I know, it is.
Yeah,
I mean, we got to do the thing, the extra, the election thing we did that evening with everybody, but this is the first time we're...
I'm not going to drag you into my discussion of that because yesterday I got into the fact that... So I argued with management. Okay, I am going to do it. I argued with management.
Oh, no.
I was like, hey... maybe we should wait until we get to like the runoff because we were all expecting, just as we had been prognosticating, that night there wasn't going to be a whole lot decided. And I flat out told the person who had the idea, this is stupid. So that's why when I showed up, I was like, let's play Jeopardy. So at least for the first hour, because remember, we didn't even get poll results. And then for like the next hour when we were doing it, we're like, well, no one's getting to 50. So that's just how it is. And it was still several weeks off before we finally got some actual results to look at.
Yeah.
So,
it was fun. I enjoyed the Jeopardy, though.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. And I'll tell you, and because you and I had never worked together, but it was a fun group, and I was like, let's see how this is going to go. And for me, I look at it like, can you have fun? And as soon as you were having a blast, I was like, okay, we're good here.
We're good.
This is going to be good for this morning. So,
awesome.
So I understand you've been running all around, like all over, you've been all over the Southeast here recently from everything you were telling me.
Yeah. I just drove back from Dollywood yesterday, which just is folks, if you've got a family and you're looking for something fun to do, Dollywood is one of the most family-friendly places I think I have seen, or at least found. Now, granted, my daughter's young, so I'm sure there's lots more to come, but it was an absolute blast.
All right, so I've got to ask the difference here because I've had my kids and as I was telling you during leading up to the show, so my youngest turns 12 tomorrow, and my oldest is 15. Now, we did the Disney years. Mm-hmm. And they still have an interest, but because we've seen, just to even get in the parks, how insane it is, everyone keeps telling me the alternative is go enjoy Dollywood. Yeah. It's not as crazy, but it is fun.
I would say that 100%. And even I've just even in we've never gone to Dollywood in the middle of summer, so I'm sure it's probably crazy busy. But on the just the outside of summer, I've never seen it really be as crazy packed as, say, Disney World, any Universal, Disney World, or anything like that. So that alone to me is great. But the town, Pigeon Forge, there's so much to do there. other than Dollywood. So not only do you have the great family place Dollywood, where it's just fun to walk around. And even if you're not into all the rides, it's just so much. There's so much going on inside Dollywood. But outside, we did a lunch at a place called Dolly Parton Stampede, which
I feel like she's running a cartel there. Like everything has to be Dolly.
That is pretty much what I said to my wife the other day. I was like, Dolly Parton owns. There's definitely got to be a Dolly Parton mafia or cartel.
Oh yeah, it's going to be Pigeon Forge, brought to you by Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
I mean, you hear about these. Like we used to own a house in Port St. Joe, Florida, and everywhere you went, it was the same two families that owned everything.
Wow.
And it felt like the movie Roadhouse, where it's Brad Wesley, the guy who runs everything in town. It was like, well, don't get sideways with the Rishes, because they own everything. I imagine Dolly's kind of the same thing of like
It's pretty impressive, and I think so. I mean, it's all about Dolly, and she's what a good person she's been, but that like the Stampede is just it's a horse show, and they do tricks on horses and things like that, but they did a big. What I loved about it, they're not shy about showing their love and appreciation for the United States.
Sure.
And that's one of the things I love about it, because Disney went through their whole and I guess they're still woke probably.
Well, I got to tell you about that, because the last time we were there, and it was interesting to see the difference in the employees, because we had been there a couple of times when my daughters were younger, and then we went probably about 4 years ago, right when we were in the middle. What is it? AOC calls it Woke 1.0.
Woke 1.0.
We were there in Woke 1.0, and that was when they had made the announcement that they were no longer going to, when they said hello to any of the young kids, or we say hello princess or hello prince, they were just going to say hello friend. You could tell the difference in the people that had been there for a long time, who thought it was silly, who were still kind of be like see my daughter and be like, hello princess, and I'm kind of give them the knowing nod of like, I know you're not supposed to do it, but I appreciate that you're doing it.
You're doing it.
Yeah, it's like it's part of what makes that whole trip special.
Isn't that sad what happened to Disney?
Yeah,
Walt Disney, the Mr. Walt Disney would roll over if he saw what happened to his part.
I like to think of the Family Guy version of Walt Disney, where all they ever do is make him into an anti-Semite, which is hilarious for all those years. Whenever they would make a Disney reference, they would always play into that. But it is a genius facility, and it is a cool place. But even Tug, when he's here, him basically living just south of Chattanooga, he says that was their biggest thing, is like, go to Dollywood.
Go to Dollywood.
That was always their plan. All right, so this is where the point in the show, early on, as myself and Victor will be taking you until 10 o'clock. We've got also long tease way ahead of time. Dr. Rich McCormick, congressman for our particular area, Tug and I, is going in the 7th District, is going to join us at 9 o'clock hour. He is promoting a particular event that's coming up. The last one was the job fair, which was completely insane and packed out, and that was such a great hit. That thing was awesome. But somebody on this show has to eat a little crow, and it's not Victor, and it's not me.
Uh-oh.
I'm wondering who on this program.
Well, Tug's not here, so
Tug is
there's
not
only one
here.
person left.
Who could it be?
Could it be sweet, clean Bryce, the man who has been kissed by the bird of youth on each cheek every morning? He shows up bright and early. He can barely drink. The whole world is his oyster. Victor, do you know, as far as the background on Bryce? So he's a play-by-play man.
Okay.
Who we got him involved in this show. And so when he is not, and I think it's hard to probably explain to his friends, so he calls games for Kennesaw State. He'll call football games, he does volleyball, he does softball. Whenever there's a national broadcast, then they're like, okay, well, let's have him be part of this thing. Well, he thinks he knows about sports. And so, Bryce, if you'll recall, after the Braves got swept in Minnesota, they were going to Chicago yesterday afternoon, playing a makeup game against the White Sox, and I pointed out, well, Grant Holmes is on the hill. Hopefully he'll give you 5 strong innings. And do you recall what you said to 5 strong innings? When I think you were making faces.
Yeah, I don't think I said anything as much as it was the faces I gave. And I was wrong.
See, that is the sign of maturity. Because especially in this business, and I don't know how you feel about this, Victor, I think it's endearing to the audience when we tell them, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But I also don't want to do it all the time.
Not many people in our field will do that.
No, it's very rare. Now, I don't do it a lot at home, or at least I try not to.
Well, yeah, I don't
I mean,
blame you.
20 years of marriage, and I'm like, just try not to say you were wrong on this one. And I'll do the I was wrong. I was a little bit wrong. It's just kind of how it goes. And you with a daughter, me with a couple of daughters, that one's hard to do too, because as they're getting older, man, they get to have. It's not war yet in the house with my 15-year-old, but it gets close at times.
It's getting close. Oh.
Yeah, she used to love me. Like right now, you are loved.
It's so funny you say that. During our Dollywood trip this week, there was a little, at one point, my daughter was getting really tired, and there was a little bit of contention, and I looked at my wife and I said, oh, just wait.
Yeah.
Wait till she's a teenager.
Oh, man, there's so many moments, and I try to tell this to her, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be overbearing, and I'm not trying to be tyrant parent. I'm also not trying to be her friend either.
Right,
like I'm trying to be kind of a little bit of that balance. And I make the point to her, you're 15. I'm 46. I've also been 15. I was like, so whatever you're doing, trust me, I've done it worse. I've gotten in more trouble. I've failed harder than you. I've also succeeded more. So I'm like, just hear me out on some of this stuff.
Right.
You know,
and that's a great way to put it. My sister, who's a little older than me, has 4 kids. And so, and unfortunately, their father passed away kind of early, and so I helped a lot with them.
Oh, you got that experience.
Yes, and well, that's one of the things I used to explain to them, and I still, honestly, so there's 3 boys, and they're all in their early 20s to mid 20s, and I've explained, it's still to this day, trust me on this, I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it. Just let me make your life a little easier by not making the mistakes that I made. But they don't want to listen.
No.
It's amazing.
Well, and I think the only time it ever gets through, especially with my 15, right now my 11-year-old, she'll be 12 tomorrow. Can't wait for that. She still thinks that mom and dad hung the moon. So we're good there for right now.
Good there.
For right now. But with my 15-year-old, I find that so much of it is having to tell her, no matter how bad she thinks, and a lot of times at school, she'll be like, oh, Dad, it's like I did this on this chemistry exam. I'm like, trust me, I did like half that grade at one point. Like there was, and even if it's not exactly true, it's just so she feels like, wait a minute, all right, this isn't the end of the world. Here's how we bounce back and stuff. And I think a lot of what we talk about, especially as being on a conservative radio station, is that personal responsibility and being there for your family, being there for your kids, and at times, like I know you're not quite there yet with the age. But it is real, the indoctrination they get in school and the stuff they come home with.
Yeah. That's one reason we left the city. Because we didn't want to be anywhere near, we were in Brookhaven, Chamblee area, and I didn't want to be anywhere near those schools. I mean, the stuff that, just like my nephews and my niece, what they used to text me from their high schools, it was pure indoctrination.
So, and I want to bring that up with you as well, because when you started talking about, obviously getting away from the city, and we did the same thing. Like we had back when we were in our early 20s, my wife and I were cool, we had the Buckhead apartment. When Buckhead was still kind of Buckhead.
A good place to be.
It was still fun. They hadn't turned it into what it turned into, where it became all shopping and everything else, like when it was all bars and everything.
Right.
And then we had the Alpharetta townhome, so we moved a little further. And then as we started the family, we're like, well, let's move out to Cumming. And then it turned into, let's move further to where I can find cows now. And so it's a little bit of a different lifestyle. And at least the indoctrination or the pressure that goes on in the school districts. I know, talking with Neil Boritz, immediately when I tell him that my kids go to public school, he just starts ranting and raving.
I bet he does.
Well, but if you want to send your kid and you live in Brookhaven, I mean, we're talking, it's thousands of dollars.
It's crazy because we it's funny. I grew up in Atlanta, and my parents still live in the Tucker area. And by the time my younger sister came along and got to high school, they were done, and because they didn't want to move anymore, because they moved us out of their bad schools. And my younger sister ended up going to St. Pius.
Okay,
but that I mean, it was my dad had to. He worked his fingers to the bone, so he could do that. And So no, you're absolutely right. And when you look at, I mean, what is it, Paideia and Pace Academy, and I know there's some others.
Blessed Trinity over in Roswell and all those. Yeah, we've been on the circuit from playing them but you see,
you better be working 3 jobs.
Yeah, it's clearly a difference. And I threw it out to Neil. I was like, some of them are $40,000 a year now. And this was just a family experience. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit even further for you, Victor, as we get to even know more about one another. So, so when my dad, and he ended up retiring as a VP of AT&T, but when I was young and coming up, he wasn't at that level yet. So I was in the public school system, and it worked fine for me. It's what I wanted. I wanted to play at the time, like 5A Texas high school football. It's the biggest. I wanted to play Texas high school football. When it came to my younger brother, who is 12 years younger than me, well, now Dad has the money to do the whole private school route. And by the time he got to the end of it, my brother actually got run out of private school in his last year. No. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, how much you been spending a year? And he gave me the number. I go, do you feel like you pretty much crapped that money away? He just kind of looked at me. He's like, it was a tough investment. So, tough investment. But that was how he kind of got used to that. And this is a guy who started working with the phone company climbing poles. Wow. So, it hits the family differently when they're spending that kind of money to kind of get kids into the right schools.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
So I wanted to ask you about this. I know that you've got on when it comes to the Captain America pullover. and the reason why I wanted to bring that up is that, so we got into, with Tug, all the Marvel movies.
Yes.
All right. How big is that for you?
I love.
Thank you. Somebody else, Bryce.
I love it.
Tug's the weirdo with this stuff.
He doesn't like Marvel or movies.
So first off, movies are tough. Yeah. Well, he's got he has a, I would call it a blank space in his life early on when he joined the Navy. So for 4 years, he only got what America gave him.
What America gave him.
He's like, we only showed like Top Gun and something else on the ship. So he didn't see anything for a while. So then when we played a Marvel quiz with him, the very first question I asked him was, what was Captain America's first name? And I go, is it Steve? Is it Dave or Billy? He's like, Dave. I was like, Steve Rogers, man, and that's how it started. So I'm glad to be with somebody who's a fellow Marvel man.
I'm a kid at heart, and I still love comic books.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love them, man. I don't really. I mean, I've got some that I've saved just for. Back when I was growing up, I was like, I'm going to save these if I ever do have a kid. So yeah, at some point I'll give some to my daughter. But and the cool thing is I've got an old Shazam and Falcon, and I mean I know Shazam is DC, but I've got some of that, and I've got some of the old Falcon, Captain America. Captain America was my favorite when I was growing up, but I've got some in Spanish from Mexico.
Oh, really?
Comic books and English. So I love it, man. I always have. I'm a big kid when it comes to. I will be the first one to go see. You know how? Remember when movies used to start at like midnight? I mean,
you'd have the midnight screening on you'd have a midnight Thursday screening for the weekend opening.
The weekend opening.
Yes,
and I would be there, and I want to do that for Doomsday that's coming up.
Okay, that's on my schedule. When it came to, have you seen Spider-Man: Brand New Day?
I have.
Okay,
I saw it in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. So I was in Mexico a couple of weeks ago.
Was it in Spanish?
So no, and this was what's funny, and why I will remind people constantly how much people in Mexico want to be here.
Yeah.
That they have showings. With movies like that, they will show natural in English because there are a lot of Mexican fans and that want to hear their dialogue. They don't like the dub.
Okay.
Now it's in subtitles.
Yeah, they'll still subtitle it.
But yeah. So it was in English
because that's I think is my favorite of all of them. So Bryce and I both went opening weekend.
That's awesome.
I did the same thing. I had a Thursday night viewing. We didn't walk in the door. No, I take it back. We did a Friday night viewing. We didn't walk in the door until 2:30 in the morning because we went to like the 11:05 showing. But it was
awesome.
We kept trying to tell Tug. He's like, well, I'll get around to see you.
I'll get around to it.
He's like, no, man. It's like this is a great one, and we're trying to get it warmed up for Doomsday. And then he even said, we'll go watch Doomsday as a group. I'm like, it's not going to make any sense to you.
None
at all.
He's really got to do some catching up.
He is so
But
far
I love
behind.
this idea about the group thing. I want to go.
Listen, if we can swing it, we've got a friend.
awesome.
We've got a friend of the station who owns a private theater down the road.
What?
And he has given us the opportunity.
No.
We saw the last round where we saw Endgame, and we saw it on that Thursday night midnight. The radio station were the only guys that were there. It was like 14 of us.
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
That's
so
great.
incredibly cool. All right, that's Victor Los. When we get back, we get into a Storytime Junior, and we'll talk about what exactly occurred when it was American capitalism versus Nazi socialism. We'll talk about that next right here on the Morning Extra, right here on Extra 106.3.
Your paycheck buys less than it used to. That's not a talking point. That's your grocery receipt. And Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station has the numbers, the reasons, and who's accountable. Listen live or stream us anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app.
Join Daniel Matalon, CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and co-host Tug Cowart as they bring together law enforcement, justice insiders, and voices from every part of the justice system, victims, advocates, and people who've turned their lives around. It's not PR, it's not fluff. It's an honest talk about what's working, what's broken, and how to build a better path forward, one second chance at a time. This week's guest is Tanya Miller, State Representative, Georgia House District 62, and Democratic nominee for Georgia Attorney General. Justice Unfiltered. Unfiltered, informed, and unbiased.
So you got into an argument. Things got heated. Then a fight broke out, and it landed you in jail. Now what? You need A Second Chance Bail Bonds. They can get you or your loved one out of jail quickly, in most cases, in a few hours. So make the right call. A Second Chance Bail Bonds. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
The right partner makes all the difference. For more than 185 years, we've forged personal relationships with our customers and communities, funding economic development and rallying around the causes that are important to our neighbors. With the technology, products, and expertise you'd expect from a big bank and the local decision-making and commitment to community from your neighborhood bank, United Bank Shares is your trusted financial partner for life. Learn more at bankwithunited.com. United Bank Shares, member FDIC.
This is Tom, the honest car guy, and we got a surprise call in from a customer of ours, Travis, out in Jefferson, Georgia. Travis, good to hear from you, buddy. You want to tell a little bit about the experience you had with me at the honest car guy?
The whole experience, honestly, was one of the smoothest car experiences that we've ever gone through, meaning that there's no pressure. There's no runaround. It's just straight up honest service. The price that you guys present or find for you, that's what you are going to pay. And you just get a great deal. I've been educated to a newer process of the car dealership game. You guys have not come in and you're setting the benchmark for how car dealing and car buying and car selling really should be.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Stratton from Tom and Jerry's Roofing, a 10-year veteran of the U.S. Army. When my best friend Jerry and I opened Tom and Jerry's Roofing, we wanted our company to be an outlet for good. So with every roof we do, a portion goes to various veteran services and charities. Tom and Jerry's Roofing is passionate about giving you the best service and quality work possible, and that work turning into service for our heroes. So if you need a new roof or a repair, call us. We're Tom and Jerry's Roofing, where every roof helps veterans. TomandJerry'sRoofing.com.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Cozy Earth's mission is to transform the time that matters most, your sleep, into the most comfortable part of your day. Sleeping in a cooler environment offers several scientifically supported benefits. Studies show that cooler temperatures promote the natural release of melatonin. This leads to a faster sleep onset, better mood regulation, and significantly improved sleep quality. That is exactly why Cozy Earth's premium sheets are just such a game changer. Tanya and I love the sheets in the heat of Florida or here at the ranch. These sheets give our bed the luxurious feel and comfort for a great sleep. Made from viscose from bamboo, they naturally wick away heat and moisture from your body. They're temperature regulating, helping everybody sleep several degrees cooler to completely eliminate the risk of night sweats. So try them out, completely risk-free. Cozy Earth has a 100-night sleep trial, and every set is built to last with a 10-year warranty. Head to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the promo code BECK, get 20% off. That's code BECK, 20% off, and you get a post-purchase survey. Make sure you mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, August 21st, and here are your headlines. Ukraine says its war with Russia and Israel's conflict with Iran are part of the same broader fight. Ukraine's ambassador to Israel says Iranian-made drones used by Russians have directly linked the two battlefields. Meanwhile, President Trump is urging the countries to cut off Iran completely economically, warning there will be consequences for those providing a lifeline. Atlanta is officially out of the running to host the 2028 Democratic National Convention as the DNC has narrowed the finalists down to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, eliminating both Atlanta and Chicago. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and the Georgia Chamber expressed disappointment over the decision. And finally, Georgia officials are warning about a farmer's market scam. The State Department of Agriculture says a fake event advertised on Facebook as a 2026 Gate Atlanta vendor and artisan market is designed to steal information. Officials say there is no such event scheduled at the Atlanta State Farmers Market this weekend. It'll be a high of 92 today with a low of 70 and a small chance for storms in the metro area this evening. The Extra 106.3 headlines. I'm Bryce Gobert.
Welcome back. It is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Tug and Los. All right, so I was just seeing this story, and it got the creative juices flowing, the curiosity flowing. So I saw this post, and it was somebody who took a video, and it was a car. It was a Subaru, and on the back of it just said, it was a bumper sticker. It said, "I'm not a lesbian, and I do own guns." And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of funny because Subaru has a connotation. Now, we have had people who've worked on this show who drive a Subaru. In fact, that would be our friend Joe Virgin River. And that would start certain jokes. Clay and Buck had a discussion several weeks ago when they were talking about different communities. And at one point, I'm pretty sure it was Clay, because I don't think it was Buck. But when they brought on a caller and talked about them being from, I think it was like a caller from Austin, I think Clay asked, when they divorce, do they cut the Subaru in half? Yeah, I don't think it was Buck. I'm pretty sure it was Clay Travis. And he got the biggest laugh out of it. And I got the question going. I'm like, why do you have to have the bumper sticker? What's the problem? You know, the Subaru Outback seems like a quality vehicle. In fact, Subarus have an incredible safety profile. I've got a friend of mine down the hall who drives one. And whenever he pulls up in it, I don't think to myself, man, he's driving that lesbian car. But I do think that he's driving that lesbian car. And I wanted to know the history. And so out of curiosity, I looked into it. And we talk about at times how you're going to have a Harvard Business Review on aspects of different companies. Harvard Business Reviews, they're interesting. It's like you'll get a profile. They get studied in business school all the time. It's how does a certain scenario happen? And what were the choices made by the company or management? And how did it create what is currently known today? Like one of the fascinating ones is on Costco. Costco has a program called Treasure Hunt. And what they do is they buy certain goods and they make them available. So, for instance, maybe a pair of Calvin Klein jeans that costs $120, $140. They sell them in store for $20, $30. And they barely make any profit on it. And the reason why they do that is so that you'll show up more often than once a month, once every 6 weeks, which is what the typical person needs to go to Costco for. You'll go in more often. So I was kind of curious. I'm like, how did this happen with Subaru? And I got the answer. Turns out in the 90s, they weren't doing well. And they did some research. They identified who their core buyers were. They were all-wheel drive buyers. And they were willing to pay a premium for that feature. They were teachers, educators, healthcare professionals, IT workers, outdoorsy, rugged individuals. And there was one other group. Lesbians. Concentrated in places like Northampton, Massachusetts, Portland, and Oregon. And so they launched a campaign. They partnered with an ad agency, Mo Ryan and Nash, and their campaign was subtle. It was called Winks and Nudges to let you know, hey, if that's your lifestyle, the Subaru is for you. Which I never knew this.
Remember talking about it with Sean Duffy?
Oh, yeah. He made...
Talking about his son?
Sean Duffy started as a transportation secretary, started talking about how his son's driving the Subaru, and he's laughing about it because he knows, and we know, and we're not trying to say it, but he's like, yeah, he always wants to borrow the truck. Well, why is that? Is that because I just thought it was something to have fun about, and it is. I didn't know that Subaru actually recognized this is an untapped market, and this is how we have to go after it. Talk about Harvard Business Reviews. That's going to be one of those. All right, let's get to a story time.
Settle in and get comfortable, folks. It's story time with Uncle Los.
Thank you to Bryce. No thank you to Tug. He's not even here. He's on a beach somewhere. Thank you to Ben Burnett, who's listening in.
He's talking about Acuna there, by the way.
Ah, okay. Thank you to Liberal John, who wants to come in and get some more time on this radio show. At some point, he's going to be special correspondent. Look, it's a side gig for John. It's fine. But I wanted to bring this up because I think we can we all please, if we can agree on something, especially when it comes to the political spectrum, that when it came to World War II, hey, maybe beating the socialists was a pretty good idea, right? Can all look at what National Socialism was and say that was bad. Now, it was also a different time because the socialists decided that there was something wrong with the communists and they had to go battle it out too. There's a reason why that the Nazis looked at the Russians and were like, they're subhuman and they're communists. Let's go kill them all. Well, there was also the other end. And as the Japanese bring the Americans into the war with the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and by the way, that was the last time we declared war on anyone, by the way, was World War II. Have not had that since then. Well, then you had Germany, who, as an Axis power, looked at America and was like, oh, fine, you're going to get some too. We're going to war. Now, I told you how I have gone down some rabbit holes. I enjoy it at night. If there's nothing on, like, oh, okay, I've seen this movie, that show, that documentary. Like, I've been to the end of Hulu and back. And also, for anyone who's like, what's the end of Netflix look like? I've been there. All right. I sit in a lot of car lines. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like, well, I got to kill 30 minutes. I'll put something on, and that's what happens. But one of the areas where I think it's impossible to do that is YouTube. And there is a channel called World War II Tales. And I just happened into it, got into it, started watching it. And this went to my heart because it was economic-oriented data as to what happened during World War II. And it really speaks to the difference in a capitalist country and what the Germans were as a socialist country. Now, we all know, or hopefully we do, the story of D-Day. That part of the problem that had happened for the Germans was that when you had paratroopers that were dropping behind them, and when you had the landings at Omaha Beach, the Germans are looking to roll armor into the area through the hedgerows, and let's push these people back out to the sea. But here was the problem. Everything was top down. If Hitler didn't authorize it, it didn't happen. The German had no authority to do that, the German soldier. And what was Hitler doing at the time? He was sleeping. Well, nobody's going to wake him up to tell him the invasion's begun. They're scared of him. It's top down. Whereas the American soldiers, with our brand of how we run our society, if you needed to make a change on the fly, you made the change on the fly. You explained it to your commanding officers later, and hopefully you accomplished the mission. That's one of the stories of Point de Hawk, of scaling that structure, getting to the top of it and going, there's no guns up here. Well, change on the fly. Let's go find the guns. That's our objective. And so it was really about what society was like, a free society versus a non-free society. Well, that also applied to the economics of it. And I love this entire story. So the story basically goes that in the German system, with their socialist economy, with their top down, when it came to their tanks, and the Germans love their tanks, all right, this is their BMWs of the day. They built their tanks, and they were wonders of ingenuity. Well, the Germans, during the ramp up into the World War and through the World War, estimated they built about 22,000 tanks. Those are Panzers and Tiger tanks, okay? Here was the big difference in what occurred during the war, and it started to become a huge factor. In a capitalist country like the United States, the government was awarding contracts. They would go to GM, they would go to Ford, they would go to Chrysler and say, we need this many tanks, and we'll pay you for them. Like, okay. Now, were they directing, like, how to do it? The means of production? Anything? No, they were just like, we need to fulfill these orders. Can you do it? Which is different from the Germans. So what occurred? Well, if we just talk about the Detroit Arsenal tank plant alone, that's what Chrysler was running. When it came to the M4 Sherman tank, they produced 18,000 by themselves. By themselves. We had tank plants in California, in Indiana, in Pennsylvania, in New York. We were producing somewhere in the neighborhood of 90,000 tanks. So when the Germans brought us into the war, they're like, hey, the Americans, they're weak. They haven't fought a major war. They don't know tactically how to do anything. What's the big deal? And they had estimates on how long it would take us to ramp up. Well, it turns out in a capitalist society, there's money to be made, and there's freedom to be had. We ramped up faster than they could have imagined. In fact, at one point, and again, this is from World War II tales. I was just going down this because a lot of it's economic data of World War II. We had a shipyard at one point because the German U-boats were trying to sink as many Liberty ships and cut off supplies of it coming across the Atlantic. At one point, we were able to start and finish and put a ship in the water in 4 days. The Germans had never heard of it. In fact, there was no way that their U-boats could sink ships fast enough to make up the difference. They couldn't blow enough planes out of the sky to make up a difference. They couldn't destroy enough tanks, enough Shermans that were on the continent of Europe to make a difference. And so the story that's really fascinating is when you talk about D-Day +1, D-Day +2, and we're into the hedgerows. Well, the Germans, they already had their supply chain issues. And again, they had to wait for the Fuhrer to tell them about what they were going to be allotted. We didn't have that. We just build it, keep it going. Let's do it. So when the Germans would be on one of their artillery pieces, they would fire a shell. They'd fire for effect. Then they'd look for a high-value target, a tank, something major to shoot a shell at. Because every shell they fired was one less shell. that's not how we operated. In fact, an American patrol could see a German machine gun. Again, not a tank, not a artillery piece, not an 88. We could see a German machine gun in a hedgerow. Like, well, it's going to be dangerous to get across this hedgerow. Now, on the Russian front, the Russians would just run at the gun. And the Germans, like, you just mow them down. And that's where the old story comes that you'll run out of bullets before the Russians run out of Russians. They'll just keep sending waves at you. Well, that's not how the United States worked. And it was mind-blowing to the Germans. What would we do? Well, we would tell our mortar teams, fire some mortars at that thing. If it was still up and operational, you would call back to your artillery pieces several miles away, fire shells at that thing. If it was still up, you might call the ship you came off of and tell them, shoot these giant freaking like small cars of artillery from a ship at this thing. And if that didn't work, you could call in your Air Force and say those 500-pound bombs, drop them on this area. Now, that was for a machine gun. The Germans, because they had so much less with their socialist society and what they produced, had to wait for high-value targets. We were dropping bombs on machine guns. And that's why we kept doing it all the way across Europe. And the Germans were so upset about this because they're like, how do you fight an enemy with endless supplies? Well, that's what America was able to do in a capitalist society. And so I want to finish up this segment. There is a miniseries on HBO. Now, Bryce, did you ever see Band of Brothers?
I have.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. Highly recommend.
It's like 27 years old at this point.
What was the other one about Japan?
Oh, that was the Pacific.
That's right. Okay.
That one's okay. It's okay. The Basilone story, digressing. John Basilone's story is pretty good. But when you go through Band of Brothers HBO miniseries from like 25, 27 years ago, there's one scene when they are heading into Germany. And part of the problem that had occurred for the Germans, and it was good for us, problem for the Germans, is that they were unable to supply their soldiers because anytime they tried to run trucks, we had air superiority and we would just blow them up. We were just bombing all their trucks. And so then they would try and run them at night and we would figure that out and bomb those too. So as the Germans are losing the war and they're being marched out of these areas where there was still fighting, they're walking. All right, they're on horseback. Like, there's not a lot of options. And so in this particular piece of audio, this is from Band of Brothers, and they kind of play this out. And it's the one character, he's an actual real-life person. He had gone to Harvard, and he's on a truck riding into Germany, and he's watching all these Germans march. And he's just thinking, how stupid of you to think you could have challenged American might.
You stupid crowd bastards! That's right! Say hello to Ford and General Motors! You stupid fascist pigs! Look at you! You have horses! What were you thinking?
That's enough, Webster. As he's pointing out, you went up against American might. You brought us into this war. You declared war on us, and here we are giving up a portion of our lives for this crap, and by the end of it, you're walking it on horseback, and we've got thousands upon thousands of vehicles and planes and boats. And so that's the story, that what a capitalist society, when you put us to, you want to put us to the test? No, you want to see how quickly we can arm up and build? We have the economic system to do it. You do not. And so that's story time. That is story time. It's Los, it's Victor. We'll be taking you until 10 o'clock. Again, long tease coming up the 9 o'clock hour. We'll hear from Dr. Rich McCormick promoting an event that he's
8
got.
o'clock.
8 o'clock. Oh, I thought we were 9:05. Oh, take it back. Okay, 8 o'clock hour. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you for helping me out there. 8:03 or so right around that we'll get a chance to talk with Dr. Rich McCormick. All right, coming up next right here on the Morning Extra, we've been talking about schools. How about the Morning Extra's own Sean Duffy making headlines and getting out there with a clip from a reality show. You'll get a chance to hear it. We'll talk about it next. This is the Morning Extra.
Extra 106.3 Sports, powered by 680 The Fan.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 21st. The Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon 2-0, the final in the Braves makeup game with the White Sox from earlier this season. Grant Holmes goes 6 innings and gives up 1 hit. Bryce, the Braves will now be in Milwaukee this weekend for a matchup of top National League teams as they take on the Brewers. It'll be Chris Sale on the mound tonight. He'll be opposed by Jacob Mazeroski. First pitch is set for 4:10. You can hear that game on our sister station, 680 The Fan, and for free on the Fan app. From the NFL, 3 more games on the schedule tonight for week 2 of the preseason. The Steelers host the Jets. That's a 7 o'clock kick. The Jaguars host the Panthers at 7:30. Then the Broncos host the Packers at 9:30. As for the Falcons, they will play Saturday afternoon against the Indianapolis Colts on the road. That game will kick off at 1 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
I'm Patrick Brown, former Army Ranger in the United States Army. Like many service members, I had to make difficult choices when leaving the military, and the most challenging thing was finding purpose in a new phase of life. Housing, employment, education, way too many decisions and no idea where to start. That was until I met the Warrior Alliance. They made it simple. They listened and quickly connected me to the services I needed. And like a trusted friend, they even followed up to make sure I was squared away. Change a veteran's life today by donating at thewarrioralliance.org, helping warriors navigate to success after service.
Some moments do not need a crowd, just 2 people and a question that changes everything. At Solomon Brothers, we understand what that moment means because for over 44 years, we have helped Atlanta choose jewelry that marks life's most important chapters. No high-pressure sales, just the largest selection, honest pricing, and the private time you deserve to get it right. Solomon Brothers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982. Book a private shopping appointment online.
At Georgia Power, we want to help you save money and energy during the heat of summer with 3 easy tips. First, set your thermostat to 78 degrees and use a ceiling fan to help circulate air. Second, keep your air vents clear and change your filter monthly. And third, turn your lights off when you're not using them. Please visit georgiapower.com/myenergy for more tips, information on different rate plans, and energy assistance options.
Sponsored by Georgia Power.
On the fence about a fence? Hi, this is Jared with Accent Fence. Make the right choice and call Accent Fence. Whether it's wood, aluminum, vinyl, composite, steel, or chain link, Accent Fence can build you the perfect fence for your home. And with no money down financing available, now is the time to get your new fence. Explore fence options and read all of our 5-star Google reviews at accentfence.net. Then call and set up your free in-home consultation at 770-995-7463. For a fence that lasts, visit accentfence.net.
When Keisha Lance Bottoms got elected, she said,
"We must be good stewards of your tax dollars."
Just 30 days later,
taxpayers covered the cost of a first-class ticket for Mayor Bottoms' husband to fly to the Super Bowl
on her taxpayer-funded credit card.
Atlanta taxpayers shelled out more than $2,600.
Worse,
more than $11,600 in luxury chauffeured car service in just her first 5 months in office.
And taxpayers covered this tab.
The State Ethics Commission has fined Keisha Lance Bottoms.
She accepted over $110,000 in contributions that exceeded legal limits,
violating campaign finance laws.
The commission's chairman declared
it's an egregious violation of the act.
And the verdict from a former prosecutor?
It smells bad. What don't you get about the rules and regulations? If Mayor Bottoms wants her legacy to be too greedy to care, they're off to a great start.
Keisha Lance Bottoms. She's out for herself, not Georgia.
Paid for by Jackson for Governor, Inc.
In the U.S., there is a break-in every 26 seconds. But when intruders step near, Simply Safe Home Security steps up. Using the Outdoor Camera Series 2 and the advanced AI alerts, Simply Safe's U.S.-based live agents identify your threats on the property and help deter them, stopping the crime before it starts. Because when it comes to your family's safety, the best break-in protection is prevention. Simply Safe. They'll earn your business by keeping you safe and satisfied every day, and that's why they never lock you into a long-term contract or any kind of cancellation fee. And it's why monitoring and deterrence plans start affordably at about $1 a day. It's no wonder that SimpliSafe has been named the best home security system by the U.S. News and World Report for 6 years running, and America's best customer service in home security by Newsweek. Join the more than 6 million people who trust SimpliSafe to protect their homes and families today. Right now, you can save 50% off your new SimpliSafe system at simplisafe.com/Beck. That's half off at simplisafe.com/Beck. There is no safe like SimpliSafe.
The American dream is alive and well on the Victor Armendariz Show.
As long as we embrace freedom and liberty and capitalism, we will remain the best. It's very easy. We can do it in this country. We shouldn't be afraid of technology because we have the Constitution that restricts government. If we didn't have the Constitution to restrict government, then I would say screw AI and screw technology.
The Victor Armendariz Show. Always available at thepodcastpark.com and streaming free on the Xtra 106.3 app.
Welcome back. It is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Typically Tug and Los, but that man, you heard the promo. It's good, strong Victor. And Victor is in. He'll be in today and on Monday, so thank you for your time, Victor.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
I know that whenever you get a chance to sub in, Tug's always raving about you. Like, oh, man, Victor's so much fun to work with. I'm like, that's so awesome.
He's so kind.
He's, he badmouths everyone else. So you can take that to firm. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. He actually does like you and appreciate
That's amazing. I feel special.
It's always nice when we get that. So got a couple minutes here before we get into the 7 o'clock hour. By the way, the 6 o'clock hour is brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. So we were talking about the importance of schools. And as Victor alluded to when we were talking earlier in the show, opening things, he made it a point to move his family out of Brookhaven and to get into a different school system. I talked about the importance of when my wife and I were looking into the public school system and we ended up in Forsyth County. We have been pretty satisfied with how that has played out, but you've got to always be on the lookout for indoctrination and some of the stuff that goes on. Well, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he has a reality show, and this is, as it's pointed out, it's like, well, this is taxpayer funded. This is what it is. Well, Sean Duffy, if you remember, was on this radio station 6 months ago, and they were talking about the push to get different vehicles on the road. He was talking about how the U.S. government is trying to make it, as far as with incentives, to get some newer cars on the road, because he said at this point, the average age of vehicles on the road is 7 years old. And not that that makes any sort of issue with fuel efficiency. They're like safety. Want to make sure that we have the safest cars on the road. And so that was the push when he came onto the radio station. We also made a joke about Subarus, which, again, we'll get into at some point. As you're chuckling like...
I know where that's going.
Yeah, well, we got into it. It was marketed this way, all right? It was... Subaru went, hey... This is one group that keeps buying our cars. How do we market to them?
How do we market to them? Get them to buy more.
This was a move in the 90s. We finished the show yesterday talking about this. This was a collective decision. So, but so the joke was out there. Even Sean Duffy made the joke. 'Cause he's like, I have my son driving our Subaru. He's like, and then he keeps asking me to drive the truck instead. So, he's got a sense of humor to him. Well, this piece of audio is Sean Duffy, and you're going to hear cuts where it's him and his wife. But this is him telling his daughter in the kitchen about where he's comfortable, based on how he's raised her, where he's comfortable sending her.
Can't say no.
To Harvard?
Yeah.
Well, me and Mom can say no.
Catholicism, to us, is everything. It's the basis of our marriage. It's the basis of our family. So I'm nervous about the idea of Paloma going to Harvard. We spend a lot of time nurturing and providing formation for our kids, giving them an environment where they are steeped in faith and values. And so the idea of dropping her off at a place that would undermine that or try to undo all those things makes me worried.
And again, I don't want them to get one viewpoint. I want them to get a lot of different viewpoints. But I don't want them fed only one viewpoint that's contrary to the way my kids were raised. Listen, I think my problem is we have thought about how we raised you and how hard we've worked to, I think, raise what is a remarkable young girl. If I send you there, I think what happens is they have professionalized figuring out how they can take good young girls like you and, I think, corrupt their minds. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to have the political viewpoints that I have. But I do think it's important that you make those choices for yourself and you have a fair representation of what they are. And I don't think the Harvards of the world give you that kind of well-rounded picture.
Well, I tell you what, Victor, the left was going nuts over that video and that audio. But I don't think there's anything about that is heavy-handed.
No. I mean, I'm listening to that. And I don't know because she's young, she's not even 4 yet, but I wouldn't want my daughter going to Harvard or I don't think there's anything wrong with what I would have been much harsher than what he just said.
Well, so we got into this, probably last year. There was a study that was done. It was talking about the amount of free speech on campus. Mm-hmm. For instance, Cal Berkeley was last, okay? Whereas Georgia Tech and Auburn actually scored very highly for the amount of different groups that are on campus that are allowed to have a forum, allowed to speak, or allowed to talk, and there's not anyone looking to shut them down from the other side. I think that's all Sean Duffy is basically saying is that I want to put you in an environment in which there's a lot of different ideas rather than just one.
Right. And it makes total sense. And are you guys familiar with Walter Williams at all?
He's familiar.
He's an amazing economist. He's 95. Actually, I think he passed recently in 2020. But anyway, he was an amazing economist, but he was a professor. And one of the things that he said that I think if every school could live by this, he said, I never take, because what you hear me talk about when I'm interviewed on podcast or on conservative talk radios, when you hear me say things on those, you'll never hear me bring that into the classroom. Because in the classroom, I need to give a student the ability to say, hey, here's some information. You take it and run with it. You do your reading, your research, or this. I'm not going to sway you one way or the other, especially politics. And that, to me, if a college would do what they're supposed to do, which is you want critical thinking. You want students to ask questions. You want to have an environment where it is total, no free room or free space or all this mess they're talking about now. No, you're on a college campus. It's your duty to ask questions. It's your mind is still, whether, I know when they're 16 they think they know everything, but you got to have to where colleges are a place to flourish and really allow that freedom of thought.
I think there's two things in play here. There is indoctrination or there is the inspiring of curiosity. Yeah. And I would love to see kids be inspired to be curious about stuff and ask the right questions. All right, coming up next, 7 o'clock hour. By the way, 6 o'clock hour was brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. Thank you to them. We have a long history with this particular power. And we don't lose at it very often. Talk about that next. We continue the Morning Xtra right here on Xtra 106.3.
Need more than just headlines on your ride to work? It's the Morning Xtra, live from 6 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, only on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Time to shut the door on your old, creaky, ugly garage door. I'm Dan Watkins, local owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Don't get ripped off by national companies with outrageous prices and gimmicky jingles, pretending they've been in Atlanta since day one. Here's what's really important: high-quality work, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers chartered the flight.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and 2 of its employees are among the 8 people killed when a small plane crashed in western Alaska. It had taken off from Anchorage.
Went down near Cape Newinham Long-Range Radar Site Airport, about 450 miles west of Anchorage. The site is part of a network of remote radar stations monitoring aircraft in and around Alaska's airspace. The NTSB is investigating.
That's Fox's Ted Lindner. A long deployment finally ending for 5,000 sailors and Marines on the USS Abraham Lincoln, finally heading home after more than 270 days at sea, and much publicized reports of mental strain on the crew and worsening conditions on the ship and other aircraft carrier replacing the Lincoln, as President Trump ratchets up financial pressure on Iran with what he calls an economic D-Day. As nuclear and Strait of Hormuz talks remain stalled, the president went on WABC radio again, insisting he had to take action on Iran, telling his ex-lawyer Michael Cohen's show,
they were exactly 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon, and that's why I had to do it, because you cannot let them have that kind of a weapon.
A New York woman is behind bars. Jessica Bowie is accused of converting to Islam and then plotting an ISIS-inspired terror attack. Fox's Gernal Scott reports the target was the state capitol in Albany.
U.S. Attorney John Sarcone said Bowie is charged with providing material support to ISIS.
This defendant was radicalized online and spread messages of hate and violence.
FBI special agent in charge in Albany, Craig Tremoroli, quoted Bowie's intent to take down the building
and kill the senators while they're meeting. I want them to lose a lot of important documents as well.
There's damage to clean up after storms hit the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast. 1 person killed in Virginia in a lightning strike. A tornado caused destruction in Dover, Delaware. Another twister did some damage on New York's Long Island, and flooding in New Jersey led the drivers needing water rescues. America's listening to Fox News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep in a traditional bed? Experience Z-Cliner, the revolutionary recliner by FlexSteel. The Z-Cliner was engineered with restful sleep in mind. A healthy life starts with a healthy night's sleep. Z-Cliner is more than just a recliner, featuring custom power adjustments like recline, headrest, lumbar, heat, massage. It's a personalized comfort experience. Z-Cliner is a sleep solution backed by FlexSteel's durability that you can trust, delivering unmatched comfort, technology, and support. Visit zcliner.com to find a retailer near you.
This is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Locally owned and heard throughout Georgia on the Xtra app.
Oh, you've done this right. Thank you, young Bryce. It's Los and Tug. No Tug, though. That's fine. He'll be back Tuesday. But I got Victor.
He's missing out on something.
That's right.
That's right.
So we are going to be taking you until 10 o'clock. You can always check out Victor's work. Podcast Park, weekends over here.
Yeah, weekends over here.
Subbing in anytime. And so always available. I was going to say, and the man keeps it fun. And let's face it, too, the more voices. And I think this is what's been so different about what really Extra has been about, and we've gotten to push. We have such a tier of different age groups, different people from different backgrounds, different life experiences, yet we're all talking about the things that we feel that makes America a great country to live in. I think that's a huge deal.
Man, that's 100%. I got to tell you, I have experience with another station down the aisle, and it's nowhere near the environment here.
You were at 790 as well, Radio Korea?
Yeah.
We were all there, huh?
But I tell you what, it truly is like a family here. I mean, I joke about it when I'm on, doing my show, but Extra 106 is something special, and to be able to sit here and just share, like you said, life experiences and a dad who came here and did what my dad did, and for him to put the love of this country in me at a young age. I love sharing the stories and the experiences and everything, and to have a platform like this is amazing because I think it's something people need to hear.
Well, and I think your American dream is different from my American dream, is different from Bryce's American dream, but it's it all has the same goal of I want it to be on me, and hopefully without my government restraining me at all, to go out and be as successful or fail as hard as I can.
Right,
Either one.
As hard as you can. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, especially for, and I've brought this up on the radio show in the past, my dad's family, I mean, some of them, I mean, we would go to Pearsall, Texas. It's like way south
Where is
Texas.
that?
All right, so if you're in San Antonio and you go about an hour and a half south, starting to get into this area where there's just a lot of hunting in the area. It's Dilley, Texas, is like one of our big prisons that's out there. But just short of Dilley is Pearsall. This is like one of those Texas towns where there's like a right side and a wrong side of the tracks. All right. Victor, let me tell you, when I was young and we went there, I remember asking my dad, why does his uncle have all these roosters in the backyard in cages? Oh, there was cockfighting in Pearsall, Texas. Didn't know about this sort of stuff.
Wow.
But what we would do is we would hunt every single year. We would be hunting for South Texas whitetail. And whenever we would shoot one and harvest one and process it, that wasn't for us. That was for his family there because they were that poor. Wow. And so, you know, having that be my dad's background and then to accomplish what he's been able to accomplish, and then between him and my mom being the foundations for, we want you to go to college. We want you to accomplish this. Here was a level we were not able to afford to get to. We want to push you there. That's part of the American dream that I think that when we get on this radio station, we talk about, we advocate, and we want to keep alive.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, my biggest message that if there was a message that I could give everybody that listens, it's to somehow convince their kid that you may not succeed every time at everything you try, but if you don't quit, this is the country. You're going to make something of yourself if you learn a little self-reliance. And you know what? There's going to be some pain along the way. You can't have freedom and not have pain. And that's what I think a lot of these young whippersnappers coming out of college who think everything should be given to them, and somehow socialism is going to give me... No, socialism is going to give you some shared misery, but and then you want security. Well, if you want all security, you're not going to have all freedom. I mean, and I would rather have freedom and have that self-reliance. And so that's... I don't know. There's a lot we could get into there.
Oh, there's so much. And we've had this discussion. And by the way, yesterday was National Radio Day, which radio is in like a crazy, it's the music stations. Like they're really having some problems. Talk radio, local radio, hey, we're still doing fine. Thank you for all the support. That still seems to work well. But yeah, like I tell young guys like Bryce, it's like, I've been where you're at. And when you're working in radio, there's a portion of that career as you're coming up where you're like, my friends are taking cool trips, or they just bought a car, or they just went on this vacation. And I just remember being 22, 23 years old with a college degree going, all right, so I'm going to go do my radio show. In this case, it was with Chris Domino down the hall. And then after that, I'm going to have to go host trivia like 3 or 4 nights a week to make ends meet. And this is the grind that you're doing. But once it becomes a living, then in my case, I was able to tell my wife when she would say, hey, we got to do this on Sunday. I would say, I've got to watch the Falcons play. I've got to go watch the Braves play.
You actually have to do it for work.
Exactly. I was like, that's the other end of it. And so a lot of it, and I think it echoes exactly what you're saying. There is going to have to be a pain point before there's success. And it's very rare with the most successful people in this country where they'll tell you more about their failures than they will tell you about their successes.
100%.
It's incredible when you hear about the failed businesses that they tried and the amount of times where things didn't work out. I think those are great things to get into. All right, also what it's to get into is the first thing to know.
I am a morning man. Along the airwaves I do ride, with facts and fire by my side. Many a liberal lost their arguments to my truth. Many a snowflake melted down right in their booth. They tried to cancel me back in 2025, but the Morning Xtra is still alive.
I love this story, and I know it's important. So important that the left will not cover it at all. Victor, when you're doing your show or when you're hearing from people and they talk about what's going on with the Iran war, oftentimes what you're trying to get from the media is a celebration of, well, there's nothing happening. well, we're stuck in this war. Look what's going on. And this week, we started to find out not just how America gets aggressive when it comes to oil, it's how successful we get to oil. We've had J.D. Vance, who has brought this up, and the U.S. military. We have now actually created a lane with the Strait of Hormuz where we're getting 15 to 20 million barrels out on a regular basis. And now we have the region already planning pipelines to just take the Iranian power away from them.
There's 7 million, I think, barrels going through already a pipeline around the Hormuz. And the pipelines they're building, they're not even done building yet. So, I mean, that eventually, and Los, I love it that you brought it up because you put it in a good way. Because I was saying, and I've been saying for months, we don't know what President Trump knows. We didn't know what Biden knew. Well, Biden didn't know. We didn't know what the auto pin knew.
What? What are you saying?
Right. I mean, there are things that they're going to know that we just don't know. So all of us being Monday morning quarterbacks and all the people out here, I hear it every day, Los, and I bet you do too. I have people that are conservative or have been conservative that are starting to carry the media liberal line. Oh, it's a quagmire. It's nothing like a quagmire. I don't see that with because everybody's looking at the midterms and going, oh my gosh, and I understand that, and I would love for this to be over with by the midterms, but there's a bigger picture than that, and I think that's what Trump is looking at.
To me, the media so badly wants this to be Vietnam.
They want a quagmire.
They want the quagmire, and I have talked about quagmire. For me, in my opinion, would be if you end up having to, basically park a submarine off their coast for the next 20 years and lob, cruise missiles at them every now and then. I'm like, that's. I think, big picture, that's probably what it's going to be when you leave the region. It's going to be a moment where if you don't like what they're doing, you're going to spank them. That's just how I believe it's going to go. Yeah. But my conditions on this has always been the same. No boots on the ground as far as in significant numbers, and let's get a hold of what their power is, and their power all comes from oil.
Yeah,
I'm not talking like, hey, go seize all their ability, but it still comes down to that's their weapon. Take their weapon away from them, not just the nuclear end, but take the fact that they can at any point affect the global marketplace. If you remove that from them, they don't have another card to play.
Without Hormuz, they have nothing. These Ayatollah crazy mullahs and the IRG. These people are really, truly wacko crazy. I mean, they believe it is their duty to bring upon the apocalypse. So I have no problem. I'd like to take them out. I would actually I'm like you. I don't want boots on the ground or anything like that. But I'm perfectly fine with letting Israel and some of the other players over there say, yeah, go ahead. Let's just cut the head off the snake. So, but this is what he's doing now. See, what a lot of people, and history will get this story right at some point.
I hope so.
But at least I hope, yeah. But the strangulation that he's putting on them right now, and you alluded to it, cutting off that oil, cutting off their ability to sell oil, and cutting off their ability to affect the Hormuz, that will bring that regime down. It might take a little while, but it'll bring them down.
So this is according to our own intelligence. The amount of executions in Iran are up because as they've now hit 90% inflation, and now that this stranglehold strategy is kicking in, which, by the way, it only could occur once we've established a shipping lane and had these pipelines delivering oil. That's a key factor to this, which, by the way, it wasn't like they were talking about that a couple of months ago or 3 months ago. It was this, in my opinion, this was always part of the strategy until it was up and running. You now have a scenario where, because of the unrest that'll be in that country, I don't think we have to worry about our boots on the ground. I think a lot of this comes down to, and maybe this is pie in the sky, we'll see. If you deliver a rather large victory in Iran in terms of, okay, no nuclear weapons, and your leadership is toppled by your own people with this kind of economic conditions, great. If this doesn't work, then I go back to, all right, park a destroyer out there, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, I can't wait till we have the Space Force where we can just, all right, if you guys, you can't affect the Hormuz, you start building your nukes again, and we'll just hit them. We'll just you see somebody
with
move.
what is it? The Jewish space laser. It's always a long running joke.
According to Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, that's what they would tell you.
It's like, oh, they've got the Jewish space laser.
So I'm all for the Jewish laser if it's there.
Does it get the job done? Sounds good. I don't care who. It could be the Amish space laser. All right. I don't care what group happens to handle that. If that's your version of security, that's what's going on.
You can call it the Obama laser if it'll make the left happy.
Yes, if it'll be 3 times more effective than Obamacare, and it gets the job done, and it has peace in the region, you don't have to worry about Iran being a nuclear power. I'd be like, call it whatever you want.
Call it what you want. And that's the thing right there. What I just don't understand why. Well, I do, because we don't have an honest media. If we had an honest media, things would be so different. But for people not to be able to think for themselves and just look at the Middle East and go, boy, wouldn't it be nice if you defanged Iran, the Middle East is a different place. I mean, really, you got a little bit of Oman here, and you've got Lebanon, and you've got these crazies, but they're being funded by Iran.
Yeah.
So you change that one fundamental aspect of the Middle East, and you've changed.
Yeah, it is different when you see, especially with the Abraham Accords, and to see that within the region, there's now a cooperation, even with Israel, in the interest of technology and moving forward. And there's right now one big component that doesn't want to get on board with this.
Yeah.
It's the Iranians. It's who they are. I mean, when you have the UAE and the Saudis and the Jordanians, and they're all saying, yeah, no, sounds like a good thing. Here's how we'll work in the region. It's going to benefit all of us. And yet the Iranians, as they're dealing with us, their first response is, well, why don't we shoot missiles at our neighbors?
Yeah, let's go hit our so-called friend. I mean, they're hitting people who actually would have been working with them today that aren't working with them anymore because they lob missiles at them.
They've isolated themselves through this weird strategy. Speaking of strategy, so I was reading this article, and it was by Noah Rothman. You can find it in National Review, and you talked about that media that is not very honest, doesn't tell the story all the time. The headline was Trump's Iran strategy may actually be working, and it gets into what the economic conditions are in the area, how the other Arab Gulf states are reacting to this. And it was almost, as I'm reading through this eureka moment of, and this happens. This happened since George W. Bush. The media always paints the Republican as some sort of cowboy and some sort of clown with no strategy. It's like, if this is how this is playing out, there was an immediate strategy. There was a intermediate strategy based on, all right, we've killed enough of you. Maybe you'll make a deal, and a long-term strategy. And the long-term strategy is now being
unfolding.
Seen. Yeah.
And this is what I try to tell some listeners that, hey, we don't know everything that's going on. And for anybody to think that President Trump doesn't have a strategy, I have heard from other hosts and some areas of conservative talk radio, they're just piling on Trump like he's just has no idea what he's doing. What have we seen in his first term and even now that just doesn't line up with there's a strategy? Of course he has a strategy. This guy, Donald Trump, probably has some of the best natural foreign instincts that I think any president had.
Outside of 2020 and the COVID pandemic, where things were like fly by the seat of your pants, I don't think Donald Trump has entered into much of anything in his life where there wasn't some long-term strategy.
Yeah.
Of what are the goals? How are we going to get this done? What are the timelines?
100%. It's in his mind, that CFO or CEO mind that he has. If in the private sector and you're responsible for so many lives because they work for you and you're having to sign paychecks, you can't think short term. And so Donald Trump, it's ingrained in him. It just blows my mind that people will say some of the things they say about him, and that it starts to creep in on so-called conservatives or Republican voters or independents. I'm like, I don't know how you can look at what Trump's doing and just I get some trepidation and I understand that, but to look at the other side and go, oh, let's bring those guys back.
Well, you know what? There's extremes here that, and I understand because of how the media works, and let's face it, you want to sell papers, you want to sell magazines, you want to get listenership,
clicks.
all that sort of stuff, and clicks. All of it is now real, where you can only have one of two extremes, and the first one is, well, there's no plan at all. Okay, that's the first extreme. The other extreme is, this guy has no idea what he's doing. all right, what if it's closer to there is a plan and he does know what he's doing? Well, that doesn't work for people. No. That doesn't create any sort of
because it doesn't
buzz.
match the narrative that they get every day from the media.
Every day.
He must be a bumbling idiot. No, we had a bumbling idiot who got lost in the Rose Garden.
Yeah, we already had someone who didn't know what day it was. All right? It's like,
and shook hands with invisible people. I should be nice, but I can't.
It was 4 years of it, and the more we talked about it, it is such a... It's a reflection of everything that they're talking about when it comes to Trump and Iran, or like I had so much of this comes from like straight out of Reddit. I got this one nutty person who will be like, "Look what's happening with manufacturing." Get the news on last Friday. Manufacturing is at a high that we haven't seen in the better part of a decade. Well, that talking point went away, and then their next one, well, what about Iran? Well, then you find out what's going on. It's almost as if the left that lives in this world of make-believe, they construct all of these truths around them, and then they ask everyone else to partake in it. And I'm with you. There's parts of conservative media that are like, well, maybe they're right. Or maybe they're always wrong.
Right. Maybe they're just trying to...
They live in a land of make-believe.
Yeah. And it's 100%. What blows my mind is, anybody who can't see this for themselves, I'm going to help you right now. Look at what, for 4 years, the mainstream media told us Joe Biden was the best he's ever been. He's the best. You must not believe your lion eyes, or whatever that saying
Joe
is.
Scarborough told me to F off if I didn't believe he went at his best.
He sure did. He looked at the camera, at everybody's face, if he could see their face, and told them, you F off. This is the best Joe Biden, when he knew darn well that wasn't true. And then today, everybody, the guy who's one of the most competent, you may not agree with him, but one of the most competent presidents ever, which is President Trump, they're trying to convince you he's the babbling idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, it just blows my mind.
We can debate strategy. I don't believe that we can have a serious debate if you believe there's no strategy.
Exactly.
Those are two completely different areas. Like, you can say it's a bad strategy, and I've said it. If you want to have a discussion about the planning and what is going on, the overall strategy, fine. Let's have that discussion. But to act like there's none.
Right. And that's a great point right there. I'm not saying that everything Trump is doing is right, and I'm not saying everything I agree with, because I don't. I'm not a tariff guy, but I know he does have a strategy, even with the tariffs that I don't like. He does have a purpose for them.
There is a plan here.
And there is a plan. And I hope the end plan is to be rid of all of them, but that's a whole nother discussion. but but that's the thing. To be able to go to the extreme and say, oh, he's just a bumbling fool, he's a dumb guy. After all he's accomplished, and no, you can't tell me this guy doesn't have a plan, and I think we're seeing it unfold.
That's Victor Los. No Tug today or on Monday. He'll be back from vacation. When we get back here, right here on the Morning Extra, really this many non-citizens taking part in your elections? We'll talk about that next on the Morning Extra.
Get the latest breaking news and insight from the biggest conservative voices in the South when you follow Extra 106.3 across all your social media platforms. Find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube at Extra 106.3.
I'm Michelle Stovall, and our company has been family-owned and operated for 75 years. Check us out at StovallINC.com, or better yet, stop by our newly opened 11th store at 9500 Union Hill Road in Canton. At Stovall, we supply you with all your landscaping project needs, completely hassle-free down to delivery. Been dreaming of an outdoor kitchen, fireplace, or other custom paver project? We partner with Keystone Hardscapes for all your beautiful high-end concrete needs. We look forward to making your landscape dreams come true. Stovall has it all.
Of all the radio ads I've ever done, I only advertised one thing that I think saved my life. My CPAP machine. Sleep apnea. And I found the best CPAP dealer out there ever. Roddy at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. CPAPsETC.com. Everything you need, all the supplies, shipped anywhere at a price that often beats insurance. CPAPsETC.com. Go take a peek now.
Hey, I'm Tom.
And I'm Jerry.
And we are
Tom and Jerry's Roofing.
Yes, that's our real names.
And together, we have 70 years in the roofing industry. But taking care of you and your home is our priority and our passion.
But our other passion is taking care of veterans, and that's why every roof we do gives back to the vets.
That's right, Tom. First, we take care of your roof, and then we take care of the brave men and women who protect us.
So if you have roofing issues, from repairs to replacement, call Tom and Jerry's Roofing and help us give back to America's heroes.
Find us at tomandjerrysroofing.com.
That's tomandjerrysroofing.com.
Hey, this is Los with David from Atlanta, who just purchased his new car with the Honest Car Guy, the new, fully transparent way to buy your next vehicle. David, tell us about your experience.
I had been looking for a vehicle for a couple months. The car buying process was a little challenging at first for me. I had some credit issues in the past, and I just happened to hear a familiar voice on the radio, and it happened to be the Honest Car Guy ad. I got in touch with Tom. Within 2, maybe 3 days, I had a vehicle being shipped here from Orlando, Florida. I have already recommended him to family members, several friends, and I'll purchase a car from Tom when I make my next purchase for sure.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an Honest Car Buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
All year, we've celebrated America's 250th anniversary with fireworks, parades, and displays of patriotism. But what happens next year? Is this simply a milestone we recognize and move beyond? Or is this the beginning of something that will outlast us? I'm Elijah O'Neill, Director of Education at the American Journey Experience in Texas. And every day I work among thousands of artifacts spanning from the time of Christopher Columbus to the space race. And I've seen what happens when people encounter history beyond names and dates. When they see it, touch it, and experience it, America's story becomes their story. That is what Glenn Beck and our team are building, not for one anniversary, but for generations to come. Visit AmericanJourneyExperience.com and join the Sacred Honor Society for $17.76 a month and preserve the history of the greatest nation on earth. AmericanJourneyExperience.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, August 21st, and here are your headlines. Ukraine says its war with Russia and Israel's conflict with Iran are part of the same broader fight. Ukraine's ambassador to Israel says Iranian-made drones used by Russia have direct link to 2 battlefields. Meanwhile, President Trump is urging countries to cut off Iran economically, warning there will be consequences for those providing a lifeline. Atlanta is officially out of the running to host the 2028 Democratic National Convention. The DNC has narrowed the finalists to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, eliminating both Atlanta and Chicago. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and the Georgia Chamber expressed their disappointment over the decision. And finally, Georgia officials are warning about a farmers market scam. The State Department of Agriculture says a fake event advertised on Facebook as the 2026 Gate Atlanta Vendor and Artisan Market is designed to steal information. Officials say there is no such event scheduled at the Atlanta State Farmers Market this weekend. It'll be a high of 92 and a low of 70 today, with a very small chance for storms in the metro area this evening. Your Extra 106.3 headlines, I'm Bryce Gobert.
Thank you, the Gobert. Rawr. Haven't heard a rawr recently, so I just wanted to make sure that you were remaining fearsome with all of your headlines and all the stuff that you're getting into. It's Tug and Los, but no Tug as of today. He'll be back on Tuesday. Oh, thank you. Finally. So it's Victor and myself. We're going to be taking you up until 10 o'clock. Coming up in the next hour, we'll get a chance to visit with Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick. We've got an event coming up and want to go ahead and get a chance to talk about that after the success of the job fair that we had in Alpharetta just about a month ago. I'll tell you, Victor, when we went over there, Tug and I stopped by, and we were just thinking to ourselves, all right, we'll just park in the hotel parking lot. There was no parking. Well, we'll park in like the sublot. There was no parking. Man. All the way down the street. And the turnout that they ended up having, I know that they were talking about 70 companies. It turned into, by the time everything got squared away, think it turned to like 100, 105, to where they actually had companies that had their setups in the lobby. A lot of good police organizations, a lot of aerospace engineering, a lot of high tech stuff in the Alpharetta area where they were looking for more talent. And so I know that Dr. Rich McCormick, I come across as the crazy conservative when I'm around him, and yes, when it comes to his policies, he wants to talk to everybody, including Democrats. But yes, there's a reason in our very Republican district. There's a reason why we keep sending him back to D.C.
Wow. What district is that?
District 7. 7. You're in 7. And so we've got that area of Alpharetta into coming. And so, so his area does go down, I believe, into even the Roswell area.
Okay.
And so he had a town hall probably about a year and a half ago. And I remember thinking to myself when I saw where it was going to be, it was a free-for-all. Basically, like all the activists showed up.
Oh, of course they did.
And, I mean, he spent all this time basically being shouted down and trying to keep things moving. So when he had another town hall, this being probably about 3 or 4 months ago, his staff asked, hey, would myself and Tug go moderate it? Ooh. And Victor, all it was telling people on the left, excuse me, ma'am, do you have a question or are you just going to keep talking?
Yeah, he's going to keep
because Dr. McCormick didn't want to be a jerk to anybody. Right. He wanted to give you your chance to speak. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, and Tug is not confrontational in any way. He's just a nice guy, wants to make sure everything's done right, but he wants to make sure everything's done right. Mm-hmm. That's Tug. Professional, do it right, not going to confront you unless you're doing it wrong.
Right.
So we had one gentleman who stood up, and he started talking about all of the unconstitutional and illegal acts of this Trump administration.
Of course.
Right? And so he keeps going. And I let him go for like 30 seconds. And I finally just pick my mic up and I go, excuse me, sir, do you have a question for the congressman? And he goes, yeah, it's about all this illegal activity. And now I'm getting ready to cut. And out of nowhere, like he just ripped open his shirt, was superhero Tug. And he goes, name one. And the guy pauses because like now he's got sweet, friendly Tug who's now putting him on the spot. And he goes, well, they went to a war in Iran without going to Congress and declaring war.
Oh, okay.
And that was the moment, like, I'm getting ready to, like, grab the mic again. And Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick explains, he goes, do you know the last time when we declared war on someone? And I'm up on stage like, I can answer this. Yeah, it was in the 40s with Japan. Okay, that's the last time. Yeah. And when you talk about the War Powers Act, when you talk about 1973, that is what every president has used since then, that if there's military action, you have to inform Congress. That man and that Reddit sitter, all he does is sit on Reddit or sit in, wherever, Blue Sky. He doesn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we were running into. So anyway, like so that was our experience with the congressman, and so we're glad to have him back on in the 8 o'clock hour. Yeah, it should be fun. So
I'm looking forward to it.
We're starting to find some information about just who's taking part in our elections, Victor.
Yeah, we are. We sure are. I have been one of those. I don't like to rehash 2020, and I because I like to look forward, and we better learn. And I always do say learn from history. And learn from your past, but you don't want to live in the past. But I can't let go with articles that are starting to come out, and we better not dismiss this. Now, what I'm about to tell you, it didn't, I don't think, change any election outcome. But this is what if we allow this to keep going, how bad's it going to get? And as I always say, when I see a number come out of the government, you can double it. You can just pretty much double it because they're
I'd
not
say
going to.
That's more than safe and fair.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if they tell you it's going to cost $1 billion, it's going to cost $5 billion.
I'm with you. You say $1 billion, I'm like, that's the starting point. That's the initial overrun.
You're right. Exactly. I mean, I only need to show you the example of the invisible train that's in California that Newsom.
It doesn't even have a stop yet. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, but there was an article that came out and it just struck me. Again, and this is not the same 6,000 illegal votes that what's her name in Virginia? Was it Virginia?
Virginia is one of the places where, yes,
right. Yeah. This is 24,000 illegal votes. 24,000 illegal aliens voted. And the majority of this group that's come out, were in, of course, California and Texas. I think about 7,000 of them are in Texas. The rest are in California. But it's 24,000 illegal votes. Now, people want to say, oh, well, it's all those illegal Hispanics. Well, no, this is illegal. I had the breakdown, and I did, I forgot.
Well, let me tell you, because I definitely want to support you on this one, because as you're saying, there is the illegals vote.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're seeing, and especially whether it's California, Texas, actually, it was rather large. It was the total amount of illegal votes as well, of dead people. It's a conglomerate of all of them that becomes so much more massive.
So yesterday, I wore this shirt that said, "When I die, don't let me vote Democrat."
There you go.
So, yes, you are correct. And there used to, what was the meme that went around for a while where Hillary was giving a campaign speech to a graveyard?
You're all going to vote for me now.
You're all going to vote for me. But no, and that's so true. So, yes, there have been documented where I mean, the media doesn't want to report it, and there are a lot of people that want to laugh at you. But there have been people on the dead who are on the voting rolls because so many cities and states don't want to clean up their voting rolls, which is a whole nother reason why we're going through this Security Act and the bill that President Trump wants, and which clearly we are going to need.
So it's interesting you bring that up, because Dr. Richard McCormick, the function he's taking part in is to also push the Save America Act.
It's Save America Act.
And so,
what did I call it?
Listen, I'm right there with you. Okay, you're good. I'm picking up what you're putting down. We're good there. But the idea of, it's not just a matter of legal ID, photo ID, which again, 86% of this country all agrees, in the interest of maintaining our citizenship, our real power. Prove who you are to vote. That's across the board.
Yeah.
It's strong with blacks, Hispanics, whites. It's across the board. 86%. Everybody wants it.
Talk about a 90-10 issue.
Yes. And how often do we have 90-10 issues in this country? Is death bad? 90%. Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
That's about it. Taxes are horrible. Yes, I agree. But to consider that what we're seeing is that you have so much illegal voting. And yes, people that are here illegally and taking part in voting, yeah, that's a bad thing, but it's not massively changing the game. What is changing is all the fraud of people that are illegally voting and the way that they're doing it, in terms of, for instance, we have a local reporter here, and he was showing, hey, here's an abandoned home. There's 20 people registered to vote here.
Wow. Yeah.
And now technically it's all legal, but that's why we want to clean up voter rolls.
Right. 100%. Because, and I will tell you, I've said this on my show, local elections matter almost more than your big elections.
100%.
And if you think, people are worried about the illegal voting, what's it going to do to the presidential race or some of these bigger races? Let me tell you something. Your local community is going to be in a world of hurt because the illegal voting can. I mean, if it continues on the road it's going, if it goes unchecked, you're talking about city councils and local municipalities that will change.
Non-citizens. And now this is where we talk about just more than dead. We're talking like people that are here illegally that are taking part in voting. You only need, when it comes to flipping a school board, maybe 1,000 votes.
Yeah.
Or a city council.
Yeah,
that's real power in that case.
Changes what they're teaching your children.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's going to be the difference of teaching or indoctrinating. And it's 100%. And what I mean by it's not just, it's these aren't just my people that are illegal over here. I mean, these are people who are overextended visas, or they're here on an H1 or HV1. These could be Canadians, it could be Asians, but you don't have the right to vote, but they're doing it anyway.
Yeah, you have recently, there was a former major league pitcher who was detained by ICE. And of course, the left goes nuts about it, like, I can't believe that you're going after this guy. And as it was pointed out, he was here on a work visa. That visa expired in 2018. He spent 8 years here on an expired work visa. And again, major league players.
It's not like he doesn't have the money or the avenues to go renew that.
You would
visa.
imagine so.
Wow.
You know, you get
He's
the
got a bad
opportunity.
agent.
Well, and that was it. Like, he hadn't been in the league in years, but it was, you were done. You're supposed to go home, or you're supposed to get part of the process, which I would imagine as a former major leaguer, you probably have a pretty solid inroad to do this legally.
Exactly.
And yet, still, that's the way it played
Laziness.
out. Ice had, so much of it, to me, it's, and I know we talk about it all the time. I try to limit all my interactions with government. Outside of my daughter's schools, I limit all interactions with government. But if your condition for being here, Victor, is that you have to interact with government to be here legally, why not go through the pain?
Hey, my dad did it.
Yeah.
So it can be done. There's a lot of people that do it the right way, which is why when the Democrats lose their mind, how can Trump be gaining in Hispanic support? Well, it's because you have people like my dad who worked hard and did what he did, that the Democrats will slap in the face by every illegal they allow to come through an open border.
I talk about this all the time. And especially during the Biden years, the people that did not like illegal immigration the most were Hispanic people here legally. Mm-hmm. Every poll showed it. There's a reason why you had Democrat districts in South Texas that went Republican. They were like, enough of this.
Like, we don't want this.
No.
Yeah.
They're looking at it going, listen, I did this the hard way, the long way, and this is what you're doing.
I worked for this.
Yeah.
And now you want to just
give it away.
You want to give it away.
It mattered. All right, when we get back, there's a topic we didn't get into, but I have to have this. The difference between the radical left and the wackos on the right. Victor's going to explain that to you as we continue the Morning Extra right here on Extra 106.3.
Extra 106.3 Sports, powered by 680 The Fan.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 21st. The Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon 2-0, the final in the Braves makeup game with the White Sox from earlier this season. Grant Holmes goes 6 innings and gives up 1 hit. The Braves will now be in Milwaukee this weekend for a matchup of top National League teams as they take on the Brewers. It'll be Chris Sale on the mound tonight. He'll be opposed by Jacob Mazeroski. First pitch is set for 4:10. You can hear that game on our sister station, 680 The Fan, and for free on the Fan app. From the NFL, 3 more games on the schedule tonight for week 2 of the preseason. The Steelers host the Jets. That's a 7 o'clock kick. The Jaguars host the Panthers at 7:30. Then the Broncos host the Packers at 9:30. As for the Falcons, they will play Saturday afternoon against the Indianapolis Colts on the road. That game will kick off at 1 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, what's up? It's Drake Baldwin here to talk about my personal Rookie of the Year, Superior Plumbing. They say you can't be Rookie of the Year more than once, but Superior has been proving themselves for over 40 years as the GOAT of plumbing. Whenever I need a leak repaired, toilet replaced, or water heater, I call Superior Plumbing, and you should too. They handle each job with care and honesty. For Superior, there's no job too small.
For Superior, the honest one, call 770-422-PLUM.
Be honest, when you pull into your driveway, does your house look rough, faded, cracked, outdated siding? Your neighbors have noticed. Just saying. Well, Nelson Exteriors will transform your home with beautiful new siding. Fast, professional, and done right the first time. And you're backed by the Trustdale $10,000 Make It Right guarantee. So there's literally zero excuse to keep living with it. Just search Nelson Exteriors. Your house will thank you. And so will your neighbors. Go to nelson-exteriors.com today.
I'm Patrick Brown, former Army Ranger in the United States Army. Like many service members, I had to make difficult choices when leaving the military. And the most challenging thing was finding purpose in a new phase of life. Housing, employment, education, way too many decisions and no idea where to start. That was until I met the Warrior Alliance. They made it simple. They listened and quickly connected me to the services I needed. And like a trusted friend, they even followed up to make sure I was squared away. Change a veteran's life today by donating at thewarrioralliance.org, helping warriors navigate to success after service.
There's never been a better time to fall in love with Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett. Now through August 31st, get award-winning vehicles and exceptional offers from a brand you trust during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Explore the full lineup of hybrid, electric, gas, and wilderness vehicles, including the trusted 2026 Subaru Forester and the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback. Every Subaru is made with love and built to last, with dependability and value coming standard. It's no surprise why Consumer Reports named Subaru the best overall automotive brand for 2 years in a row, based on reliability, safety, owner satisfaction, and road test evaluations. At Subaru of Gwinnett, there's a lot to discover and a lot to love. Get special low rates on select vehicles from August 1st through August 31st on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, or start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services. Visit Subaru.com/CR to learn more.
Gentlemen, listen up. When it's not hard, it's really hard. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 have some form of ED? It's true, and I'm one of them. ED followed me everywhere. Heck, even my initials are ED. I'm Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia, and I know ED. It can lead to feelings of embarrassment, stress, and sadness. But there's good news. I can fix it. I fixed mine, and I can fix yours too. At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, we are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, trimix to create an erection, and more. Guys, ED won't get better on its own, but I can help you today. Call us at 404-777-1911. That's 404-777-1911, or learn about us more online at tbtofga.com. So take it from me, ED, Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Call 404-777-1911 or online at tbtofga.com.
In a world where your yard has no boundaries, where the neighbor's kids cut through it like a public park, one company has dared to draw the line, literally. Accent Fence.
Hi, this is Jared with Accent Fence. Setting boundaries is a good thing. So do it with a wood, vinyl, composite, aluminum, steel, or chain link fence. And right now, we're making it more affordable with no money down financing. Get your free quote today at 770-995-7463 or book online at accentfence.net.
We all have those house projects that we've been avoiding. The cleaning out of gutters is usually last on the list. But when a heavy rain sends water spilling over and soaks the ground around your foundation, you're going to wish you tackled it sooner. Don't wait for something like clogged gutters to turn into bigger, more costly home repairs. Listen, you don't want to get up on the ladder. I don't want to get up on the ladder. Let the pros at Leaf Filter handle the gutters for you. With Leaf Filter, you get free gutter inspection and no obligation estimate. Their experts can inspect, clean out, and replace your gutters before installing Leaf Filter. Plus, every system comes with a lifetime warranty and a no-clog guarantee. Help protect your home today with Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. Right now, you get up to $500 off with $0 down during their extended Labor Day sale at leaffilter.com/Glenn That's up to $500 off with $0 down at leaffilter.com/Glenn That's leaffilter.com/Glenn Restrictions do apply. See rep for warranty and promotion details.
Never, ever, 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 ever on this planet will you tax yourself into prosperity. Understand me. You will never tax yourself into prosperity.
The Victor Armendariz Show, streaming free on the Extra 106.3 app.
It is the Morning Extra right here on Extra 106.3. It got Victor and Los that'll be taking you until 10 o'clock. Stay with us and we'll get a chance to talk with Dr. Rich McCormick to open up the 8 o'clock hour as we get to that point. No Tug today or on Monday. He'll be back on Tuesday, and it'll be, listen, I've got like 4 vacation days left, so I'm here until like Christmas. So when everybody else is gone, it'll be Victor and I.
That's right.
I'll be like,
we'll be here.
Victor, can you come in? Can you come do a show with me? Can we do that from there? That's how it's going to be for the foreseeable future.
Well, it works out perfect because, like I told you before in the beginning of the show, I've got a 3-year-old, almost 4. I don't like to travel much. I want to be home.
Good for you.
And I enjoy, I tell you, I don't deserve my wife anyway. I mean, she's amazing. And my daughter's amazing. And so.
Why are you winking?
I love
She's not listening anyway. It's fine. It's totally fine.
It's too early for her.
Exactly.
She's having to chase my daughter around right now.
See, you're in good standing here. You're in the tree of trust. When we get to the break, you can tell me all about and then she made me do this, and then she made me do this, and then I have to go home and I got to do this.
As Bortz used to put it, she who shall be obeyed.
I like to refer to ours as the domestic chief of staff.
Yes.
Like, she runs the show.
That's right.
I have an app, and we introduced it probably about like a decade ago. So on my phone, I'll bring this on over here. So I have Cozy, Cozi. And Victor, this is my here's where I need you to be and when.
Holy cow.
And so yesterday, like I'll give it, here, I'll bring up, so on Tuesday it was.
Oh my goodness.
It was early auditions. You need to pick up both girls at 4:15, practice at 5:30. By the way, there's a match over at 6 o'clock. And so each one of them is color coded to tell you where you have to be and when. So in blue, that's like, hey, I need you here.
I need you here now. When I was in the corporate world, Los, I did not have a calendar like that. That's insane.
Yeah, that's it. That's how we run everything.
Did you get your painting done yesterday?
Wow.
Sir, I had done that the day before.
Okay, well, sorry. You said you were going to do something yesterday.
I was going to hang some TVs.
That's right.
But I didn't.
This in the basement?
I failed. I got home. I started getting busy with some other stuff. I know you're judging. He's always judging.
I'm not judging. It happens. It happens.
He looks, he judges, he gives you
I was supposed to do laundry when I got home yesterday, and I took a nap.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, too. It's like, he is truly, Victor, across the glass, he might be like 22, 23 years old. He's an old soul.
He's an old soul.
That's very true.
He loves 70s. 70s music.
I was going to say,
disco.
I could see that because I like to do, I love music, love it, and I'm all over the place. And I did pick up on Bryce because some of the music I'll ask him to play sometimes, he knows the song.
Oh, he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we've actually had to spend more time explaining to him 90s rock than anything that 70s disco.
Really?
Yeah. 70s folk, 70s disco. He's an old soul.
I'm not as good in older movies, but older music, pretty good.
Well, we've got an ongoing list. I tell Bryce almost every show I do of a movie he's got to put on his list.
Back to the Future?
I've seen
better.
it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That was the one earlier this week.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, I was concerned. I was like, Back to the Future?
The hoverboard one is my favorite. I can't remember which one I think that's
the second one.
Is that the second one?
That's the second one. Because remember, the joke in the first one is he rips off the top of the cart and rides around on the skateboard.
Yes.
Second one, he's into the future, and now it's a Mattel hoverboard.
hoverboard.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I'm really crazy about this stuff. All right, tell me about the difference you've noticed between the radical left and what you're calling. It's not me. You're calling the wackos on the right.
Well,
I'd like to call you all my brethren, wackos. What Victor's calling you.
I should, and I always do try to be nice. But I was watching the elections returns in Florida. And I keep hearing the left, how they want to just, all of us on the right are just somehow we're just all evil. And so I started thinking, okay, well, let me, I don't want to be like a Democrat. So let me analyze, let me look at this. And so I look at things, and when I refer to wacko on the right, I'm only meaning like Tucker and Candace Owens, how they've kind of gone off the deep end a little bit. They've
fair, considering we don't know where in my opinion, and I'm alleging this, we don't know where as the subscriptions have dropped, we don't know where the money's coming from, whether that's a foreign or a different influence into their programming.
Exactly. And Los, I love you brought that up, because there have been, and I haven't verified any of this, but there have been articles already that have shown up that shows some foreign entities that are pumping money into a lot of podcasters. There's like 20. I mean, when you talk about Nick Fuentes and I'm going to...
And by the way, there's no restrictions on any of that.
No, there's not. There's not. And listen, if you figure out a way to get somebody to pay you millions of dollars, hey, good for you. That's the America.
Our friend Ben Burnett, who was on this station, Ben Burnett jokes openly about if I can get my hands on that Saudi money, I'll say whatever they want me to say.
Whatever they want.
Ben is a capitalist first and foremost.
And I'm okay with that. But I have as I wanted to step back and look at things. Because again, I don't want to act like a Democrat. I don't want to put everybody in one group and just not like they do, or be so judgmental. But I do recognize that there seems to be. So I mean, when you see Tucker and Candace and people like that, Nick Fuentes, and there's just, like I said, there's probably about 20 of them out there that are making tons of money. Probably getting from a foreign source because you're suddenly defending Russia. You're talking nice about the Iranian mullahs, and you seem to me to be anti-Jewish. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I refer to the wacko. But what I noticed the other night when you look at the election returns, and this is what I want to say about the Republican Party, because I do believe the Republican Party has a great chance to welcome, and I'm not going to use the big tent thing that the Democrats like to use, because these people, the Democrats have lost their minds, and we know that. I mean, come on, they had a guy with an actual Nazi tattoo on his heart.
That Totenkopf was a little bit of a giveaway.
I mean, wasn't it though? It should have been. These people would have elected that guy had he not fallen in polls. That's your Democrat Party today. But anyway, so when I look at the election results, I'm just going to use Florida as an example. You had this Fishbone, I believe was his name, running for governor. A lot of people never heard about him. But if you were on the podcast world or on Twitter, they were blowing up about this guy. He ran as a Republican. He, to me, as an anti-Jewish guy, just a kind of a crazy guy that I would consider wacko. But he was out there, and social media was building him up, and they were telling you he was going to win. Well, he didn't come anywhere near it. But the Republican voter made sure he didn't win. The Democrats, they elect their crazies. So
James Fishback, by the way.
Fishback. Yeah. Yes. What did I say? Fishback.
Fishback.
Thank you, Bryce.
This is what Bryce does.
Thank you
for the support, Bryce.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to get it. All this stuff just jumbles around in my head. But what I noticed the difference, and this is why I think the Republican Party can be so welcoming, because the Republican voter the other night, they kicked out their crazies. The Democrats elected theirs.
We have seen this now, and I think this is a big plus. Whether it's been in Louisiana, whether we've now seen this, for example, with John Cornyn in Texas, we are now actually seeing where Republican voters, now not Republicans, Republican voters, those are two different things.
Yeah, they're two different things.
Two completely different
100%.
things. They are holding accountable the people that they, even if they've had tenure, they're making it a point. I don't think you're serving the constituency very well. I'm voting you out. Now, the other end of the spectrum, the other end of the pancake, is you have the Democrats that are so frustrated with their establishment. It's not like they're finding, hey, this is a grassroots Democrat and they believe in, let's say, 90s blue dog Democrat tactics. Instead, they're going, how communist are you?
Yeah.
Okay, check the box.
Do you hate Jewish people? Do you hate Israel? And do you want to take over all means of production? You're hired.
Do you use the term cradle to grave? Sounds good.
Sounds good.
It is a different dynamic that's going on now.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I've joked around with Tug about this. So when I run for office, or when Tug and I run for office, and we're running for mornings,
this is awesome.
When you ask, so it doesn't matter what the topic is, what do you think about this? I just say the same thing. I think guns are good. That's what I'm running on.
Guns are good. Food is good.
When we get back, Dr. Rich McCormick joins the Morning Extra right here on Extra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
As the socialists and communists continue their takeover of the Democrat Party, it's good, especially if you're a parent, to take a look at and remember what they're doing to our wonderful state-operated schools. We have a socialist Democrat who is going to be the candidate for the U.S. Senate from Florida. She says that drag shows are good, wholesome entertainment for families. But let's go to the center of communism, socialism, New York City, and Mamdani. He has a panel for education policy. And some of his appointees, listen to this. A former Department of Education official named Lucas Kohler. He's the head of the $500 million endowment for the Foundation for City College in New York. White guy. And he wants the agency to dismantle white dominant culture. And he is working to create segregated spaces in city classrooms in New York for educators to reflect on their racism. Here's a quote: "The separate spaces for white people and non-black people of color would be used to interrogate their own internalized anti-black racism and unlearn white dominant behaviors without causing harm to black colleagues." And when he was working for the Department of Education, he called on that agency to sever all ties with the New York Police Department because cops pose a threat to minority students and black and brown children and families. This, my friends, is Democrats working with the education system you're trusting your kids to. Think about it. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
She praised Allah for 9/11. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The New York woman accused of plotting her own terror attack in Albany, now jailed after making her first court appearance.
She had a lot of social media profiles and was prolific online, espousing anti-American beliefs.
That's FBI Special Agent Craig Tremoroli.
35-year-old Jessica Bowie allegedly, ideally, wanted to blow up the White House in an ISIS-inspired attack, but she chose to target New York State Capitol instead because it was, quote, the biggest political building she knows of in the area. Authorities say Bowie had been radicalized online and had pledged allegiance to ISIS in May. Investigators say she intended to use a DoorDash bag to conceal the bomb once it was made. On August 19th, Bowie was arrested holding the weapons.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. As President Trump plans what he calls an economic D-Day to do more financial harm to Iran in the conflict, 5,000 sailors and Marines are finally getting a much-needed break as the USS Abraham Lincoln's deployment ends, replaced by another aircraft carrier.
The Lincoln's been at sea for 272 days, and it's still got a long sail ahead with 13,000 miles to get from the Arabian Sea to San Diego. Concerns about the Lincoln have been growing, with reports of a stressed-out crew, bad plumbing, and supply shortages. Several Democratic lawmakers have pressed the War Department for details on the Lincoln's conditions.
Fox's Jill Nato. Investigators in Alaska trying to figure out why a small plane crashed after a takeoff flight from Anchorage. 8 people killed.
The crash happened at Cape Newenham Long-Range Radar Site Airport. That's 450 miles west of Anchorage. U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Robert Davis reacted to the deadly crash, saying, quote, "This is a devastating loss for our military family and the communities we serve."
Fox's Marianne Rafferty. The flight was chartered by the Army Corps of Engineers. America's listening.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep in a traditional bed? Experience Z-Cliner, the revolutionary recliner by FlexSteel. The Z-Cliner was engineered with restful sleep in mind. A healthy life starts with a healthy night's sleep. Z-Cliner is more than just a recliner, featuring custom power adjustments like recline, headrest, lumbar, heat, massage. It's a personalized comfort experience. Z-Cliner is a sleep solution backed by FlexSteel's durability that you can trust, delivering unmatched comfort, technology, and support. Visit zcliner.com to find a retailer near you.
Can't afford to fill your grocery bags or gas tank? Fill your day with the best conservative talk for free by downloading the Extra 106.3 app wherever you download your apps.
Good morning. Happy Friday. It is the Morning Extra with Tug and Los. No Tug, though, today. We got Victor subbing in, so Victor and Los. Victor and I will be taking you all the way
Almost
until
forgot
10
it was
o'clock.
Friday.
Right now, listen, if you're having fun, you kind of forget this stuff. What you can't, though, forget is the 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air. Do sign up for that maintenance agreement. It does take care of you. As we get to the end of summer and then into fall, you want to make sure all your systems are working correctly. Get that with Central Heating and Air. On our phones right now, we are joined by Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick. Congressman, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Very well, sir. Very well. I know we'll get a chance to talk about the success that the job fair was, getting a chance to see that last month in Alpharetta. But I want to start off by getting a chance to talk to you about what you've got coming up on August 28th, the Protect the Vote Grassroots Dinner Seminar, really focusing on the Save America Act. Tell the audience about what you've got going on with this group coming up.
You know, this is one of those things that's very frustrating. We got to put the pressure on the Senate to pass something that most of America wants overwhelmingly. Every demographic, it doesn't matter what race, background, religion, state, even which party you belong to, having accountability in voting is something that everybody wants. You don't want your vote to count if you're not qualified, and you definitely want to have your vote counted if you are qualified. Now, ironically, even if you went for a simple majority, this is what a lot of people don't realize. Why Thune doesn't bring it up for the vote is he doesn't have the majority, a simple majority. So even if you got rid of the filibuster, there's several senators who are basically upset with Trump for one reason or another. Some of it's just personality driven, that will not vote for something that's good for America. The only way you switch that is by having the leader of the Senate basically bring it to the floor and have the mob, if you will, the people rise up and put pressure on these guys to do the right thing. Otherwise, it's never going to get across the finish line. We're trying to draw attention to this. We're trying to get the people stirred up, get them to call their senators, and get this done.
Hey, Dr. Richard McCormick, this is Victor.
Hey, Victor.
Listen, this is an absolute pleasure. And I just to give you a little bit of background on me, I'm known as the Mexican not afraid to be American because my father came here. he came here the right way. He came here legally, came here on a work visa, worked his fingers to the bone. That man worked 3 jobs at a time for the longest time to take care of his family. And I will never forget when he came home and he obtained his, I never saw my dad cry. He had tears in his eyes when he came home because he obtained his United States citizenship. And he so much loved that he could vote. And he takes it to heart and taught us to do that. My father is now 91 years old, will not miss a vote. And so I find it hard that. So why do politicians in Washington have such a hard time understanding how meaningful the vote is, and why is it such a bad thing to protect it?
Well, one of the things that really bothers me is I think some people have idealistic reasons and they try to justify it in their hearts, but I think most of them understand this is a good way to cheat. If you don't have to use ID. And by the way, this is not just the United States. Every state, every country in the world has modified their voting in some way or another. Even France, they tried to do mail-in ballots, realized this isn't working. France. Once again, we talked about France before, right? When France is leading you, you got problems. They've led us in nuclear power. They're leading us in the way that you have voter accountability. And this is a country. Let's face it, they have the most expensive used rifles in the world for a reason. They've never been shot, and they've only been dropped once, right? but when we look at the common sense things to do, I mean, it's just a common sense. There's several Democrats, by the way, that agree with us on this, too. Some people get a little bit wary when they talk about a digital ID, but that's a way to get rid of fraud, too. Some people don't want to be tracked. I get it. But ultimately, when you have accountability, everybody wins. And by the way, I've been to those ceremonies where people become citizens and you have to earn it. You have to actually study. I think these people a lot of times know more about America than a lot of kids coming out of high school, which is sad. But the amount of pride and the emotion and something that's so valuable to them that a lot of Americans actually take for granted, and that they don't even bother voting. Man, I tell you what, the immigrants who come here the right way and follow the law and become part of America's fabric, that's something that's special.
Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest right here on the Morning Extra. Congressman, want to also ask about something that you've brought up on social media, and it's something that Americans are aware of. We're aware and we know about companies that work with operational debt. Our country being $40 trillion in debt. I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where we're talking about balanced budgets or fixing that debt, but it feels like one of those strains that we constantly are seeing in the marketplace. Victor brought it up, what's going on in the bond market. It is a concern for everyday Americans. How does Congress plan to, at some point, address some of this stuff?
You know, every once in a while we get looking the other way, and there's so much going on in the world that we forget about the debt, except for when we reach milestones. $40 trillion. We've had the bond market a couple times in the last couple months get stirred up because the interest rates, when you have that high of a debt, $40 trillion, I mean, nobody else in the world can even come close. Of course, our GDP is roughly $30 trillion, and our actual overall wealth is still very, very, very high. It's over $100 trillion. But this is concerning. And what people forget sometimes, unless we reach a milestone, which is a good reason to highlight it, is how much that's going to burden us and our children into the future. Right now, we pay about every time that interest increase on borrowing, because we become more and more risky the higher that debt goes. We have to pay more interest on the money. It's like having a credit card. With too much on the credit card, your interest rate goes up because you're actually a higher risk. So right now we're paying $1 trillion in interest payments per year. To put this in perspective, we bring in about $5 trillion a year in tax revenue. $5 trillion. Now think about that. That would take us 8 years to pay off the debt if we didn't have a government and we didn't have an interest rate payments. That's crazy. Now, to make it worse, we're going up by about $2 trillion per year in additional debt because we overspend by about 30%. Now, this is a bipartisan problem, by the way. Here's the problem. Social Security will go bankrupt in this next presidency. It's a sure thing. It's objective truth. There's no way to get around it right now. If we solve Social Security, quote unquote, and we figured a way to solve it in the future, it still would go bankrupt because we waited too long. We always wait till last second, then we come up with a bad solution. We're reactive instead of proactive. It's a political football hot potato, if you will, and we're not handling it right now. So what's going to happen is when that happens, we're not going to allow it to go bankrupt. That would be an automatic 21% cut by law. So we're going to bail it out again, adding a massive amount of deficit spending. We're going to be $50 trillion in debt by that time, which is, well, or close to that. And we're going to be paying $2 trillion in debt because this is what happens when your interest rates go up. Now, this is the scary thing, though. There's a reason that America is the standard of currency in the world, which, by the way, gives you a lower borrowing rate, better trading, and it also helps you with those with tariffs and everything else. But if that goes away, and then we're not going to go to BRICS, because BRICS, which is from China and other countries, they've got their own problems. We're still the prettiest of ugly babies. But if this continues, we may be replaced by standard coin or something else like that. And then this great ride that we've had since the 40s with Bretton Woods, where we replaced gold as the currency standard, will kind of go away. And that's going to be really devastating to our economy. And I'm really concerned about that most of all.
You know, this is Victor again, Congressman. So what scares me a little bit about all this is you've got some, and I call them social media Republicans, that are out there actually trying to put out and say that we don't need to be the world's currency. I don't think I have to tell you how dangerous it would be if the dollar was not the world currency. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have, at least for me, how come, or let me put it this way. What would it take to get Congress to go, okay, we're going to have operational debt. We don't need to be 50 trillion. We shouldn't even be at 40 trillion. But here we are. We're here. So let's attack this. So why can't we do something? For instance, let's stop punishing achievement with our progressive tax code and move to something like a consumption tax, to where we really can really go on a growth trajectory, because the only way to beat this debt is through growth. But then at the same time, can we implement something like the penny plan or something where we say, okay, we have to stop the increases of spending. We're going to keep spending, but we got to stop the increases. Or, I mean, is there anything that we can convince the Congress in Washington that this has to be addressed, and we better do it soon, or it's going to get out of control.
You know, the great Neil Bortz, who was just on a commercial in between your show break there, came up with the fair tax, which is essentially a consumption tax. It gives a special set aside for people who are impoverished. And it's a little bit hard to explain. That's why we couldn't do it, because we were vilified instantly. Anytime you get rid of a system that has a bunch of loopholes for the big players, the lobbyists, if you will, there's always going to be pushback. And then there's also the fear of the unknown. It's just like when, here, let me give you a perfect example. This came up the other day, too. George W. Bush, who's never talked about pretty much anymore, but he came up with the idea that you privatize just 10% of Social Security. What does that mean? You're going to pay into something that you get access to directly. It's going to be invested in the market, by the way, which would have outperformed, some people say, up to 10 times what happens with Social Security, which gets no interest rate. And you get back a pittance, because if you die, that money goes back to the government. Whereas with a privatized Social Security, it's kind of like a 401k. It gets interest, a much higher interest. You're going to make a lot more money. And some people say that 10% that he would have set aside for privatization would have outdone the rest of the 90% because of the return. Plus, you get to keep it. Imagine that. But, of course, we resist it. We vilify it. We say, oh, he's the bad guy. And now we have this system, once again, that's going bankrupt. Same thing with the consumption tax. We can't have who's going to get a cutout? You don't. It's plain and simple. Everybody pays their fair share, as the Democrats like to say all the time. But once again, they're not really interested in that. As a matter of fact, here's the other nefarious thing. If the Democrats got everything they were asking for, every free social program, free health care, they free whatever else they're promising, guaranteed next year they'd come back, we'd be in 50% deficit spending, and they come back and say they'd have to have something else to promise, because the people are never satisfied with free stuff, because they get into this modern monetary theory that you can just print the money and it's going to be okay. That's going to run out. And matter of fact, as Margaret Thatcher once said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. And there's no way you're going to tax the billionaires and still make up for that deficit. It's past that already. As a matter of fact, if you took away all their money, it still doesn't make up for the deficit spending. And by the way, you'd crash the economy, because those guys are the ones who invest the most in creating jobs and economy.
Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick is our guest on the Morning Extra. Let's talk about that future, because one of the versions of seeing massive growth, and I know Elon Musk has talked quite a bit about it, is the development of AI and eventually getting to the point where we're going to be so efficient, there's going to be so much for everyone. And a lot of that tracks back to the data center discussion. Talk about that importance of staying ahead of China, finding the right communities for data centers. Not everybody wants them, but they do offer some economic benefit.
Yeah, very few communities do want them, and they become vilified to the point where I'm worried we're going to lose the future. I mean, AI is one of the most important, it is the most transformative technology we've ever seen in our lifetime, easily. This will change everything. We're going to solve cancer, guys. We're going to keep up in military technologies that are going to be transformative to the future. We've never lived in a time. Nobody alive right now has ever been in a more transformational time in military technology and tactics. The amount of AI and what it does for us, not just about changing your picture or whatever we do on ChatGPT or any other.
That's what I do and what Victor does. Yeah, we're not at that level of curing cancer.
But I've run a company right here in our district that use it to come up with chemicals that are going to solve very real problems for Americans and for industry. That's going to create wealth and jobs and everything else, and it's going to solve so many things. Here's the deal. First of all, there's been a lot of lies out there. It doesn't. Any new data center does not consume water. I've seen these articles. Oh, it uses 5 million gallons a day. It's not true. The old systems used to use the cooling. They'd use evaporation. It did consume a lot of water. Now it's all a closed system, kind of like a radiator. So that doesn't happen anymore. That's new technology. That's the way we advance, guys. The fact that they use energy, they're going to pay for it and more. As a matter of fact, we're going to have microgrids where we're going to have modular reactors and gas turbines and these fuel cells. Fuel cells basically put out almost no carbon imprint into the atmosphere. They're very, very efficient. They're are great. You can actually overproduce energy, and it'll benefit your energy grid and actually bring your energy costs down. So all the things that people, it's noisy. No, it's not. They're not going to be close enough to anyone that and they don't make that much noise. And people are like, well, it only creates temporary jobs. Yeah, like every other construction job out there. Every construction job is temporary until you get your next construction site. So all the objections are actually, I believe, driven by a very nefarious system, by the way, which I think is funded. My theory is it's funded by China or other bad actors who are competing with us, because we had one site that we actually have an FBI investigation where it was a very rural community. There was no reason for all these people to be uptight about this data center. It was going to be way away from everybody's house. And they had 250 people show up to the town hall to protest. Well, they checked IDs. 90% of the people weren't even from that community. Nowhere close. They're being shipped in from as far away as California. These were paid professionals. Who's paying them? Because that's kind of worrisome to me. And when you start losing the narrative and we don't have enough data centers or energy production, China will kick our butts. And this is the race of our lifetime. This is the next space race. If we get this wrong, it will not just hurt our economy, but everything we think is important into the future.
Well, you said it right there, Congressman. We lost the narrative, and I would love to see the GOP try and get this narrative back, because there are some good stories to be told. Zuckerberg is one of them. I mean, Zuckerberg, the last time I checked, is no big right-winger or GOPer, but the guy, if you go look at what he's doing with his data centers and how they're actually a nice aesthetically buildings to look at, and he's building parks, he's building libraries, he's making it a community, and the media has taken this narrative, and I think the GOP has kind of gotten behind the 8 ball here, when they need to come back out and start saying the good things that are coming from these data centers. Not just that if you're a streamer or you're a video gamer or you're doing anything on social media.
Or a morning host that does weird stuff with pictures, yeah.
Right, with the pictures. You can't do that without these data centers. And you are 100% right. I can tell you, because I've been following some of this and doing some of the research, because just as back when Ronald Reagan was fighting Moscow, you had these foreign entities coming into this country, funding resentment and funding, just stirring the pot, let's just say. That's what China's doing. China does not want the United States to lead in anything. And I think what the GOP needs to do, maybe, Mr. McCormick, and I would love your opinion on this, what point will it be, or will it take for us to get to the point where the GOP can say, hey, look, China's not our friend. They don't have our interest at heart, and they're running TikTok, and I know they don't own it anymore, maybe, but come on, we see what the algorithms are doing. China's not our friend, so when can we get to the point and be honest about that?
Well, you can't. Most people understand that China is not our friend. Iran, Russia, not our friend. North Korea, not our friend. But what we don't have is we have a lot of politicians that are still playing politics and not leading. You just mentioned Reagan. Reagan would paint a picture and bring you to that conclusion, because that's real leadership. We need leadership in D.C., people that will actually say things that sometimes you don't want to hear. I mean, Profiles in Courage by John F. Kennedy talked about it, where sometimes you stand up against your own party or against popular belief so you can get the truth out there. You can lead the way. Sometimes the truth is not popular until it's explained better. And I think a lot of politicians right now are reacting to, once again, the mob, if you will, that popular pressure that, not my backyard. Here's one solution to the data centers, though, and I've brought this up to the White House. I think you guys will. I want your audience to hear this, because I think there's something that can really be a good solution. Since people don't want it in their area and they're scared of it and they don't want those jobs or whatever, or they don't want the benefits, you know what? Put it on a base. The base can't say no. I mean, it's an executive decision. And then you have it on base with an energy source, and the base starts benefiting from it. They have to lease the land from us, so we get monetary benefit. They have to produce energy that we can benefit from. That's another benefit. And by the way, we have Fort Gordon right here in Georgia, which is the cybersecurity center of America. Put another data center right next to it for civilians, and then produce the energy and show America that it's clean, it's efficient, it's not going to cause any bad things. And then once America says, oh, that's not so bad, and we have solved the solution. We have tons of bases. Every state just about that have tons of land in the middle of nowhere, and it wouldn't upset anybody.
Congressman, again, congratulations on all the success with the job fair. You do have that event coming up on August 28th. That is the Protect the Vote, a grassroots dinner seminar. You can go, obviously, to Rich for GA over on X. You can get a link right there to RSVP. Best of luck for that upcoming event, Congressman, and we thank you for your time as always.
Love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day. Semper Fi.
There he
Thank
goes.
you.
That is
Semper
Congressman
Fi.
Dr. Rich McCormick representing Georgia 7th District. And I'll tell you, like I said, for as much interactions we get a chance to have with the congressman, he lays it to you as a lot of times we know when we get the BS answer. When it comes to Dr. Rich McCormick, he pretty much looks at it as like, I'm just going to tell you, and if you don't agree, that's okay. Like, and then we can have an argument with it. But he's like, but I'm going to tell you Marine straight.
There you go. And we need more politicians like that.
That's just how it goes. He's come on this show to explain when votes people didn't care for. He's like, here's the reason why I did it. Yep. So I definitely appreciate that. All right, when we get back right here on the Morning Extra, it's Victor and Los taking you until 10 o'clock. No Tug. He'll be back next week once we get back from his good old beach vacation. Well, you can count this community as being completely out on the DSA. And it actually came and was highlighted by an extremely surprising source. We'll talk about that next right here on the Morning Extra.
You can stream Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station while you work at extra1063.com. Get the latest from the Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, and Neil Bortz, and stay connected at the office. That's xtra1063.com.
Hey, this is Los with Terry from Alpharetta, who just purchased a new car with the Honest Car Guy, the new, fully transparent, honest way to buy your next vehicle. Terry, tell us about your experience.
I have a son serving in the military. He's active duty with limited time to look for a car. My son was looking for a used Hyundai Veloster, and I had heard about the Honest Car Guy on the radio, decided that might be a route to go, and we made a phone call over the weekend. He screen shared the information with us. We looked over the vehicle, and he took the reins from there, and they were able to walk us through the process of buying the car. We're very clear and transparent, and next thing we knew, we had a car in the driveway.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Back to school means back to the grind for your family, but it also means back to the grind for your garage door. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. If your old garage door is getting a failing grade, we can help. Our highly trained technicians will get to the bottom of it. It could be a simple repair, a malfunctioning opener, or maybe just a tune-up. But if it's time for your garage door to be replaced, we'll make that easy with upfront pricing and free estimates. When trust matters, trust us. All, the number 4, seasonsgarages.com.
A ring is not just about how it looks today, it's about how it holds value over time. With competitive pricing, price matching, and strong trade-up and trade-in values, Solomon Brothers helps protect your decision long after the moment passes. Because for over 44 years, we have helped Atlanta choose jewelry that marks life's most important chapters. Solomon Brothers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982. Book a private shopping appointment online.
Atlanta's Mark from the Safe House. I have a question. Am I the only person who thinks communist Democrats have lost their minds? Yes, communist Democrats coming to a city near you. Democrats have abandoned law-abiding citizens, shut the front door, and I thought fake safes were bad, much less fake Americans, communist Democrats. So drop by Atlanta Safe House and secure your valuables from the bad guys. We carry true American brands like Browning and Fort Knox. And remember, we don't use crackheads or illegals to deliver our safes. So go to AtlantaSafehouse.com. That's AtlantaSafehouse.com.
The walk-off home run, the buzzer beater, the photo finish. That feeling when everything lines up and you get what you need just when you need it. It feels unbelievable in sports, but when it comes to your finances, it makes you feel unstoppable. Visit Truist.com today to see how having the tools you need and a great team by your side can help you take your game to the next level. Truist Bank. Member FDIC.
Stovall & Company is a locally owned and operated family business that has been around for 75 years, offering quality wholesale landscape supplies to North Georgia. We just opened our 11th location in Canton, Georgia at 9500 Union Hill. Stovall provides contractors with personalized expert service from special requests to direct job site delivery for hassle-free jobs and quality relationships at competitive prices. From plants to irrigation to hardscapes, Stovall truly has it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, August 21st, and here are your headlines. Ukraine says its war with Russia and Israel's conflict with Iran are part of the same broader fight. Ukraine's ambassador to Israel says Iranian-made drones used by Russia have directly linked the 2 battlefields. Meanwhile, President Trump is urging countries to cut off Iran economically, warning there will be consequences for those providing a lifeline. Atlanta is officially out of the running to host the 2028 Democratic National Convention. The DNC has narrowed the finalists down to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, eliminating both Atlanta and Chicago. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and the Georgia Chamber expressed their disappointment over the decision. And finally, Georgia officials are warning about a farmers market scam. The State Department of Agriculture says a fake event advertised on Facebook as the 2026 Gate Atlanta Vendor and Artisan Market is designed to steal information. Officials say there is no such event scheduled at the Atlanta State Farmers Market this weekend. It'll be a high of 92 and a low of 70 today, with a very small chance for storms in the metro area this evening. Your Extra 106.3 headlines, I'm Bryce Gobert.
I tell you, I have just explained the whole key to winning most all political discussions. It's myself and Victor. We were doing everything until 10 o'clock. No Tug. He'll be back from vacation, but Victor and I were having the discussion off the air about, data centers and the future of energy. And as we're talking about these complicated issues, I just looked at him and I gave him my slogan for my campaign, no matter what. I think guns are good.
Guns are good.
And as Victor kind of is letting it kind of wash over him, he's like, that would work in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee,
Georgia, Florida. Absolutely.
See, that's how we're going to win. And in the future, if you ever find yourself in any show and you misstep, Victor, and somebody reaches out to you upset, like, Victor, I can't believe you called me part of the wacko right. Just say,
I like guns.
I think guns are good.
I probably.
Okay, we're good. You and me then.
I'm glad we had the discussion because I probably will catch flack at some point for the wacko right comment. I hope I explained it well, but that's going to be my out. I like guns. Guns are good.
I think guns are good.
I think guns are good.
Say it. We can have any sort of other discussion, and then as soon as we get there, everyone goes, okay. I see where your heart is.
I see where your heart is. Guns are good and universal permit carry.
That's right. Good. That's what's going to work for you. This is the Morning Extra right here on Extra 106.3. 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air. Thank you to Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick for joining us again. Do have that event coming up next Friday in Alpharetta on the 28th. That is in the dinner seminar, buffet dinner, pushing for the Save America Act and talking about the ways to put heat on your senators in this country. Remember, 86% of people in this country, that's across the aisle, that is bipartisan, that want to have photo ID in order to vote in this country. We don't need another situation like we saw in Minnesota when they had their primaries where you could just vouch. I can vouch for up to 8 people. Yes, I am I am Mohammed, and these are the other 8 Mohammeds I know, and we're all voting the same way.
And oddly enough, they all have the same address.
That's right. I'm vouching for all of them. I am trustworthy. That's what we were looking to go ahead and avoid. All right, I wanted to bring this up with you, and I'm going to give credit in a way that I very rarely do, Victor.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give credit to CNN.
Ooh.
There was a moment. Rush Limbaugh used to call it a moment of accidental journalism.
Accidental journalism.
And you just say, oops, it happened. Sorry. So, but I think this is about a larger picture, and I know I'm kind of framing it for the audience, but I want them to listen in this regard. I think based on what we're seeing with numbers around the country, and I know some conservatives get worked up about, hey, there's like some DSA-oriented people that won in these different communities. Well, they won primaries, all right? You're not winning in Florida. You're winning in like Colorado and New York and California. That's where you're going to win. The enclaves where these people believe that socialism, communism are good. All right. I think guns are good. That communism is good. It's just the way they think. But in this particular scenario, I believe we're now seeing the media trying to tamp down the energy and the interest in the DSA because I don't believe they look at it as being good for mainstream Democrats in the midterms. I just believe it.
I think they've realized that they're not going to win that Senate back because of some of these candidates.
Because I'm right there with you. I think they look at what their talking points are, and they're trying to downgrade them as quickly as possible so that the establishment Democrats get the highlights back, get the spotlight back. So this is Boris Sanchez, and he is on CNN, and he is of Cuban descent. Now, he has a DSA member. Now, this is Ashik Sadiqi. And this is about starting to talk about some of the issues that the DSA wants to go ahead and push forward. And again, accidental journalism. Boris Sanchez decides to frame a question around his family's experience in Cuba and see what the DSA's response to this is. Take a listen.
Get your criticism of foreign policy. As I said, it's not an uncommon one. But lauding Fidel Castro is a different story. You talk about what things were like before the revolution in Cuba. I'll give you a personal example. My grandfather was a revolutionary in Cuba during that time. He was affected by a previous dictator, Fulgencio Batista, having his friends disappeared in the street for speaking their minds. My grandfather found that revolution hoping to bring democracy to Cuba. And then what happened? Fidel Castro locked my grandfather up, sentenced to 20 years for doing what you're doing now on live TV, for speaking his mind, for expressing himself freely, for trying to organize politically. So I wonder, again, how you think that lands with people who suffered under that dictatorship, who now you are trying to court as voters when your organization comes out and lauds 100 years of Castro. I don't think it would land well with them, Ashik.
We're seeing many people in the United States who are seeing who are struggling under massive inequality in the United States.
You notice that and not really knowing how to explain
who are seeing who are struggling under.
You're advocating for Castro. And I swear, go to South Florida. Try that one out.
Yeah.
See what the Cuban community will tell you about what it's like living under the Castro brothers regime.
Exactly. So this guy, does this guy still have a job on CNN?
It still does. But I think the marching orders at this point are, because we had it, and it's funny how politics moves this quickly. 3 weeks ago, it was about getting these people on and trying to push their agenda. And the more it was hurting at the polls, and then what we saw in the elections, even for a guy like El Sayed in Michigan, your polling said he was going to win by like 12 points. He won by 1 point.
Yeah.
And you have Democrats that are now advocating, and we'll get into a little bit of this as well, they're advocating for the Republican on that side. You had Francesca Hong, where it looks like, hey, she's going to win in a landslide.
Yeah, by 20 points, they said.
Yeah, the establishment Democrat won by like half a point. Yeah. So it's like we've now seen this. I believe the media has the marching orders of tamp down these people. start pointing out who they are because they're not good for the Democrat Party. And I've told them this for the better part of a couple of years now.
You tried to help them.
Tried. Told you. I used to say $2 million, I will fix your problems, and they won't hire me.
And they won't hire you? I'd do it for $1 million. No.
Oh, no.
No, I'm kidding.
Dang it. I've been undercut once again.
105.
Oh, Kimmer. Kimmer will do anything for $20.
I was going to say, what won't Kimmer do for $1?
For $105, I'll fix your problem for $105. See, now you've been undercut.
I believe Kimmer could do it too. What one of the craziest things that I wish more people would understand is when you look at, even like you said, CNN, clearly the message is out that, hey, we're going to lose. We're not going to win the Senate because of some of these candidates, because they're not hiding who they are. And this is what I want people to understand. Today's Democrat Party, they're not much different than these young whippersnapper socialists. The difference is the old Democrat guard of today, they always hide what they really want to do to you. And the new guard was never told they had to hide it.
We actually went through, and I'm glad you brought that up. I went back and started talking about 2008. And we were never, at least from a mainstream media perspective, talked about the Marxist background of Barack Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama.
We were never talked about that. We were never talked about black separation theology from his church. We were never told about this background. The only person who was saying it was Sean Hannity. Of course, it was like, Sean Hannity, what are you, racist? You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But the old school, that version of Democrat, knew if I have Marxist tendencies or any of that background, I have to hide this and present a different view of things. The only time Barack Obama really slipped up during that campaign was with Joe the Plumber and talked about spreading the wealth around.
Yes.
Well, I'm with you. This group isn't doing that.
No.
They're just putting it out there.
Well, what's funny is and you're 100% right when you peg that 2008, because since Obama came in and when he rode into town, that's when you started really seeing, to me, I think, this change in the Democrat Party to what they are today. And that's the thing that I want people to notice the most. Who came up with defund the police? It wasn't these young whippersnappers. It was the Dems from the Obama generation, or how I should probably put that a better way.
That 2008 to 2016 agenda.
Yes.
Was really, and I don't know if you'd agree with this. I've talked about the biggest damage that I believe Barack Obama did to this country, but also most notably to the Democrat Party. There was a push away from working class Americans. The push was we're getting away from white working class Americans. What they didn't realize at the time, it was all working class Americans. And then they created a victimization mentality that in order to be part of this party, you have to claim some sort of victim status, like you don't live in the greatest country in the world and that you should be ashamed of it, and it's about getting even. And that mentality, I think, has proliferated to what we now see that's now even given us DSA.
100%. You can go back in some of my older shows. I talked about victim boxes. And that's what you're right. What Obama and his crew leading all the way up to 2016 and then really catching again in 2020 were these victim boxes. You have to belong. The Democrat Party, in order for you to support them, you have to belong. They're going, whether you like it or not, they're going to put you in a victim box. You're going to be in the gay box, the transgender box, the skin color box.
I spent all of 2020 after the election of Joe Biden. Victor, I told everyone that I was identifying as a black female lesbian. So I could claim a multitude of victim status.
Yeah. And that's the way they and if you listen to Obama back then, he said he wanted to fundamentally change the United States. Somebody should have asked, explain that, because nobody did. And now here we are today. This is their fundamental change. And again, you had the Obamas, the Schumer, the Bernie Sanders, who have been teaching these kids that are coming up today that socialism is okay. Socialism is the best. Communism, it just hasn't been done right. But what they forgot to tell these young ones, you're supposed to hide it until you're elected.
Boris Sanchez on CNN, when he was talking about what had happened to his grandfather, you notice he talked about fighting against this revolutionary and being and then Castro. What the history will always show you, especially when it comes to communists, it's all each one of them killing each other over who's not communist enough. It's like, oh, no, you're not communist enough, so I kill it. And then we're going to get you, and then we're going to imprison you. And so as much as they like to say, well, it just hasn't been done right, it's because there's always another revolutionary who's like, I'll be the one to do it.
I'll be the one.
Until they get put against the wall by somebody who's like, no, you're not doing it right. And the cycle continues. All right, when we get back, that's Victor Los. This is the Morning Extra. This man continues to speak the truth and tells you just how important it is that America remains a leader in this world. We'll talk about that next week. Continue right here on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Extra 106.3 Sports, powered by 680 The Fan.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 21st. The Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon 2-0, the final in the Braves makeup game with the White Sox from earlier this season. Grant Holmes goes 6 innings and gives up 1 hit. The Braves will now be in Milwaukee this weekend for a matchup of top National League teams as they take on the Brewers. It'll be Chris Sale on the mound tonight. He'll be opposed by Jacob Mazeroski. First pitch is set for 4:10. You can hear that game on our sister station, 680 The Fan, and for free on the Fan app. From the NFL, 3 more games on the schedule tonight for week 2 of the preseason. The Steelers host the Jets. That's a 7 o'clock kick. The Jaguars host the Panthers at 7:30. Then the Broncos host the Packers at 9:30. As for the Falcons, they will play Saturday afternoon against the Indianapolis Colts on the road. That game will kick off at 1 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Toyota's national sales event is happening now through August 31st at Marietta Toyota. Commuting every day? Well, the 2026 Toyota Camry is now all hybrid with up to, get this, 53 miles per gallon city driving. An easy way to cut fuel stops without giving up comfort. And right now, Camry is the smart move for drivers who want Toyota reliability, everyday comfort, and better fuel efficiency for the road ahead. Every new Toyota includes our nationwide lifetime powertrain warranty, limited time, and unlimited mileage for as long as you own it. And we'll go to Best of Cobb for 2026, Best New Car Dealership, Best Service Center. For well-qualified buyers, special financing is available on a new 2026 Camry Hybrid as low as 4.99% APR, 48 months, now through August 31st. Visit us on Cobb Parkway South, just north of Truist Stadium, Marietta Toyota. Since 1975, we've been here and we'll be here for you.
4.99% APR for 48 months with approved credit through SCTF. Not all buyers qualify. Offer ends 8/31/26. See dealer for details. All prices exclude tax, tag, and title and include $699 dock fee and $257 electronic tag fee.
You know what you get back when you call the Trusted Toolbox? You get your time back, you get your family back, and you get your house back. No more spending weekends fixing loose doors, drywall cracks, or that list that never ends. With our handyman for a day, one skilled professional shows up, knocks out multiple repairs in one visit. Everything from drywall to ceiling fans changed out, painting, trim work, and so much more. Stop working on your house every weekend. Call the Trusted Toolbox, get your time back, and get it done right the first time. Book your appointment today at thetrustedtoolbox.com.
Your yard. It stresses you out between the watering, the seeding, the weeding, and mowing. And no matter what you do, you're never satisfied. Have you thought about artificial turf? It's low maintenance, pet friendly, and looks amazing all year round. ATL Turf Co. is Atlanta's top choice for artificial grass installation. Let them build you a custom golf or putting green, outdoor kitchen, or pool deck. They even specialize in custom concrete and stonework. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at atlturfco.com. That's atlturfco.com.
Summer is here, and hopefully vacation is on the horizon. Whether the beach or maybe you're more of a mountain person, you've planned and saved in order to take some much-needed time off. You planned your vacation. Shouldn't you plan your retirement? You planned for a week in the sun, but have you planned for decades of golden years? Master Plan Retirement works with you to create a holistic, comprehensive retirement plan in order to offer the one thing your time off needs the most: peace of mind. From income and growth, tax strategy, legacy planning, and more, Master Plan Retirement walks alongside you to help ensure your golden years stay golden. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Visit masterplanretire.com. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
You've been hearing about the struggles with the country's housing market for a couple of years now. Higher mortgage rates have led to stagnation, and home sellers and buyers are sitting on the sideline. Well, the Fed has dropped the rates, but it really hasn't solved the issue home buyers and sellers are facing. And if you need to sell or buy a home, I strongly urge you to check out my company, realestateagentsitrust.com. Our agents are remarkable, and equally important is that they're just good and decent people. They're like-minded. They share your values, my values, and they excel in helping people when the market is really tough. Our network of agents has helped us have our best year ever in 2025. We have served more of you than any other year since we started almost 15 years ago. In fact, Tanya and I used our agents in Florida and in Texas to sell our home in Texas, buy a home in Florida. Just go to realestateagentsitrust.com. We'll show you how to sell or buy a home even in this tough market. The name says it all. realestateagentsitrust.com.
The American dream is alive and well on the Victor Armendariz Show.
Watching my dad grow up and chase the dream, watching my mom do what she had to do to keep the home in order so that my dad could work his fingers to the bone with 2 and 3 jobs at a time because he wanted that American dream. He didn't put his hand out. He didn't ask for anything from anybody. Nobody gave him hotel rooms. Nobody gave my dad free food. He worked for everything he had, and he achieved that American dream because my dad went from being a waiter, a bus boy at the same time, and cleaning hospital bedrooms. He went from those jobs to being CFO of a company in Georgia and retiring. That's the American dream that he chased and got. Wasn't the Mexican dream? It wasn't the Spanish dream? Wasn't the French dream? Wasn't the Germany dream? It was the American dream.
The Victor Armendariz Show. Always available at thepodcastpark.com and streaming free on the Extra 106.3 app.
I tell you, Victor, I think you're going to owe something fierce to Bryce. He's getting every hot Victor promo in before we get back every time. This is now turned into like one giant 4-hour Victor promo of like, hey, so he'll be back on Monday too.
I promise I didn't pay him.
Hey, don't forget the weekends.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll have the weekends as well. But you know what? I'm just saying. When somebody starts telling us all about, like, that whole Glenn Beck programming, I mean, maybe you want to do something a little different. Just check me out for a little while. Maybe you want to do something a little different. It's Victor. It's Los. We're taking you until 10 o'clock. I told you, as we get to 9 o'clock, the wheels will go off and everything
great.
else.
I love it.
But it's how it's going to be. And Victor will be back on Monday as well. We'll be doing the show together. And so really appreciate the audience. Really appreciate all of your feedback. And also, I'm sorry I was slow on this. As we got a message over from Good Strong Stephanie, one of our listeners, while we were interviewing Dr. Rich McCormick. And as she pointed out, you can go back on the app and listen to it. That was our opening to our 8 o'clock hour. She said, can we just elect some people who have the balls to say Social Security goes against all American ideals and needs to go? I tell you, all of us that are in that age group, we have all looked at it and basically said, I don't think it's going to be available for me anyway down the road.
Right.
So, but that's the honest discussion that politicians can't have with you.
So that came from Stephanie?
That was from Stephanie. Yeah.
Stephanie, if you're listening, the word is cojones.
Cojones. There you go. Just so you know that moving forward. All right, you've got some audio that we wanted to get into as far as the importance of America and our standing in the world.
Yeah, I would love, I just listen to this for a minute, folks, because sometimes people ask me, Victor, where do you get your ideas on economics? Well, listen, I'm a student of Milton Friedman. Now, was I around when he was teaching? No. But I can go on this great little device that everybody has in their pockets or a laptop, and you can find all of Milton Friedman's lessons. But there are lessons that are still hold true today. And just some of the conversations we've had already and conversations we will have, I want you to hear this. And Bryce, just hit it, and let's go from there.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the imports of steel. I'd like to allude to that. We hear from the American steel industry that in Japan, for instance, steel producers are producing at less than cost with support of the government so as to keep employment up there. And as a result, the American steel industry here is not going to be able to compete. So they're going to shut down, and we're going to have higher unemployment here.
Bryce, can you pause it for a second?
What is your...
So, ladies and gentlemen, this applies because what have you been hearing from President Trump and from people is talk about the steel industry. So this what you're hearing with Milton Friedman, this was years ago, and it was the same issue that's coming up today. So go ahead, Bryce.
Answer to that.
That's a very good question, and it's a very easy answer. Because I may say the answer I'm giving is not my answer. It was the answer that was given by Adam Smith, the man whose face appears on my tie, I may say. It was given by Adam Smith in 1776 in The Wealth of Nations. From that time to this, hardly any professional economist has believed in tariffs or protection or anything but free trade. But the answer is very straightforward. Let us suppose for a moment that the Japanese flood us with steel. That will reduce employment in the American steel industry, no doubt. However, it will increase employment elsewhere in America. We will pay for that steel with dollars. What will the Japanese do with the dollars they get for the steel? They aren't going to burn them. They aren't going to tear them up. If they would, that would be best of all. Because there's nothing we can produce more cheaply than green pieces of paper. And if they were willing to send us steel and just take back green pieces of paper, I can't imagine a better deal. But they're not going to do that. They're not stupid. They're smart people. They're going to use those dollars to buy goods and services. They're going to spend them. In the process of spending them, they may spend them directly in the United States, and that directly provides employment in the United States. They may spend them in Brazil or in Germany or in China or anywhere else. But whoever gets them in turn is going to spend them. So the dollars that we spend for the steel will find their way back to the U.S.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the point of that is what Milton Friedman said back then, and it applies today. Why pass if they're going to offer us a good deal for the American consumer to go out and buy what they want? In this case, it was the steel. The dollars that are going, they're dollars going over there. We're not sending yen. We're not sending the Chinese yuan or whatever that foreign currency is called. You're actually getting, or I should say the Japanese yen. You're getting dollars. You're sending dollars over, and they're going to spend those dollars, and they're going to end up back here. So you might lose some steel jobs, but you're going to get other jobs growing all over the place. So it is a where he's saying free trade is the way to go, which is why you always hear me talk about free trade.
Two things. First off, I still remember, I've brought it up before, Greta Van Susteren. I remember 20 years ago, I watched one of her shows. It may have been CNN, may have been Fox. I don't recall which network it was on. Donald Trump went on, and I remember I wasn't watching The Apprentice. Donald Trump to me was just some New Yorker guy who built buildings.
Right.
And he went on and started talking about Chinese steel and how they're robbing us blind. And he was going through, I remember thinking like, well, what are we going to do about that? Well, I found out like 10 years later what he decided to do about it. He's going to run for president. And so there is that part. I enjoy Milton Friedman, but I also keep this in perspective. If you go in my house and you ask my daughters, what is fair? They're going to both say the same thing because they hear me say it all the time. Fair is a concept. It's a construct. You create what you think is, I don't think that's fair. Fair doesn't exist. And I think the issue that I take with Milton Friedman is that I want free and fair markets. I want free markets. There's no such thing these days. And I think that's the part that's hard for free market economists, free market capitalists, free market conservatives like myself, and even I would say you, Victor, to know what the rest of the world is doing. Am I like a giant fan of tariffs? I hadn't even considered tariffs. But then you see what the rest of the world's doing to us to rob us. And you're like, the only way you make them go away is by doing it back to other people, but again, it goes completely against Milton Friedman and the idea of free markets.
Well, because you look, this is the way I look at it. If Japan or China tariffs our goods, think about this. They're hurting their people and they're hurting us. And then if we retaliate, we're hurting us more. We're adding more pain to the American people because a tariff is a tax. So there's no way around that. So you're going to – now, I actually agree with President Trump using tariffs as a strategic
I look at it as a negotiating method to get rid of – I've looked at it as you use tariffs in order to reduce tariffs.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm on board with that because a lot of people say, well, Victor, you don't agree with Trump. It's like, no, it's not that I agree or disagree. It's that if it's a tariff for strategic negotiations and the end goal is to get rid of tariffs, then I'm okay with that 100%.
I look at it, is how do we get, like, for instance, quality American vehicles into certain marketplaces? Well, there is protection that goes on in those marketplaces by use of tariffs. How do you bust into a marketplace? Not with bombs. It's with your tariff policy to be like, hey, why don't you even this thing up a little bit? And maybe we can start selling our vehicles into your marketplace. That's where I've looked at it as well. All right, when we get back, we'll get into the 9 o'clock hour. By the way, thank you to Central Heating and Air for bringing us the 8 o'clock hour. Let's talk about the weird show of support that was out in front of everybody yesterday. It's just extremely strange. Liberal women. I'm going to talk about that next right here on the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
As the socialists and communists continue their takeover of the Democrat Party, it's good, especially if you're a parent, to take a look at and remember what they're doing to our wonderful state-operated schools. We have a socialist Democrat who is going to be the candidate for the U.S. Senate from Florida. She says that drag shows are good, wholesome entertainment for families. But let's go to the center of communism, socialism, New York City, and Mamdani. He has a panel for education policy. And some of his appointees, oh, listen to this. A former Department of Education official named Lucas Kohler. He's the head of the $500 million endowment for the Foundation for City College in New York, white guy. And he wants the agency to dismantle white dominant culture. And he is working to create segregated spaces in city classrooms in New York for educators to reflect on their racism. Here's a quote: "The separate spaces for white people and non-black people of color would be used to interrogate their own internalized anti-black racism and unlearn white dominant behaviors without causing harm to black colleagues." And when he was working for the Department of Education, he called on that agency to sever all ties with the New York Police Department because cops pose a threat to minority students and black and brown children and families. This, my friends, is Democrats working with the education system you're trusting your kids to. Think about it. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Time to end the war. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Iran's president just said in a speech today, claiming they won and America is hated in the world. President Trump insists Iran's been decimated as he works to prevent them from having a nuclear weapon, telling his ex-lawyer Michael Cohen's WABC radio show.
The Navy's gone. The Air Force is gone. The leadership is gone. Part of the problem is so many of the leaders are gone. It's not easy to make a deal. Nobody knows who's leading.
Now, as far as the president announcing the economic D-Day plan, it's going to hit Iran even harder.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is due to announce a range of new measures on Monday, but at the center of it, of course, is the Strait of Hormuz and the U.S. naval blockade, which is preventing Iranian ships going into or exiting that critical waterway.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tel Aviv. Investigators in Alaska trying to figure out why a small plane crashed near a military base airport, killing all 8 people on board. It was chartered by the Army Corps of Engineers, 2 of its employees among those dead. A New York woman who radicalized online is now in jail. Jessica Bowie charged with plotting an ISIS-inspired terror attack targeting the state capitol in Albany.
She said, quote, "I want to destroy as much of the building as possible and kill the senators while they're meeting."
FBI Special Agent Craig Tremoroli. And Lindsay Clancy's triple murder trial in Massachusetts, testimony about to resume. Her lawyers, using an insanity defense, will call their final witness.
Psychiatrist Dr. Philip Resnick, who has studied why parents kill their children. He was a key defense witness in the Andrea Yates case. That was the Texas mother who was found not guilty by reason of insanity in 2006 for drowning her 5 kids. The jury must decide if Lindsay Clancy had the capacity to appreciate that her actions were wrong or the ability to stop herself from killing her 3 kids.
That's Fox's Brian Yanis outside the court in Plymouth. America's listening to Fox News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep in a traditional bed? Experience Z-Cliner, the revolutionary recliner by FlexSteel. The Z-Cliner was engineered with restful sleep in mind. A healthy life starts with a healthy night's sleep. Z-Cliner is more than just a recliner, featuring custom power adjustments like recline, headrest, lumbar, heat, massage. It's a personalized comfort experience. Z-Cliner is a sleep solution backed by FlexSteel's durability that you can trust, delivering unmatched comfort, technology, and support. Visit zcliner.com to find a retailer near you.
The Morning Xtra, every weekday morning from 6 to 10 on WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Extra 106.3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Thank God it's Friday.
There's the possum. That's what we needed. Little George Jones. I can't hit the post on
Now
this.
you got it. Give it a try.
And here's the possum. He's going to be, he's not playing in Fort Worth anymore. And get yourself ready for the weekend, y'all. Enjoy.
Pretty good.
Nah, I'm not very good at the whole FM thing. We're in with Victor. It's Victor and Los, and we'll be taking you for another hour. And then Victor's going to be back on Monday. Then Tug will get back from vacation. Did you ever do, at any point, any FM radio?
No.
No. I fear it.
I never got to be that. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and here we.
Yeah, we speak with the fake radio guy voice. Hey, everybody, let's get ready for. We're going to be spinning tracks and everything you want to hear right here on whatever. I've done. We're on an FM station, and our sister station down the hall is on an FM station. But I've never done any sort of music radio, and nor would I want to. I fear it.
Yeah, me either.
I also fear play-by-play, as I've told Bryce. Bryce does play-by-play. There's another aspect of broadcaster. I'm like, nope.
I have a story. I think I told Bryce this. So because I like talk and I can do talk radio and I have the gift of gab, when my nephews were in high school, my sister calls me up one day because they were both football players. All three of them were. And my sister calls me up. She goes, the announcer can't make it. This was like a Friday night.
Oh,
they
wow,
can't make it. They can't make it. We need somebody for Saturday's game. Well, I'm a soccer player. That's about it. I ride motorcycles. I can race a car, and I can play soccer.
They say shotgun, and you're like, where do you want me to shoot it? Like, no, the formation.
So I go, and I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I'm in the booth. I bring a friend with me because he actually knows about, because I really didn't know that much about American football.
So technically, you're using a spotter.
Yeah, okay. So I had a spotter. Yes. And so in the booth, there was a ref who I guess was I'm still not sure why he was in the booth with us.
He keeps track of the penalties up top.
Okay, boom. Yeah, he did that.
See, the man who knows this, he knows all this stuff, does Bryce.
This guy couldn't do his job because he was laughing at me because I was turning on every play. First of all, I was asking my spotter it was a mess, but we had a good time doing it. But it was a big mess because I didn't know half the calls, and I was calling out shirt numbers of dudes that were sitting on the bench. Oh, no. It was pretty bad.
I would fear it. And, okay, you're a brave man for stepping into that role.
It was fun.
Because I fear play-by-play. Now, at one point, if you had me on, like, a baseball broadcast, I could do it, like, at a collegiate level. But if it was, like, a basketball game, if it was a football game, I think it did. First off, there's a lot of players that moves fast. And so I would sound maybe you sounded like Boban as well. So there's an NBA player, and he's not playing anymore. I think he's retired as of this point, but he was like 7'6", and he's just known as Boban. And Boban, they would have him in different Allstate ads where he would just be doing different roles, and every single one of them, it was clear that he wasn't good at what he was doing.
Oh, wow.
And I think about the ad they have where Boban is trying to be a play-by-play man in basketball, and I'm like, that's what I would sound like if I was doing it. Bryce, let me know whenever you've got the Boban ready, and I'll show you. This is what it would sound like if I was calling a basketball game at any level. It would sound like this.
And what if I want a new car?
State Farm's here to help.
What if I want a new career? Keep bouncing it, keep bouncing it, keep bouncing it, keep bouncing it again, keep bouncing it again, keep bouncing really quick, keep bouncing it again, keep run and bounce it, keep bouncing.
That would be me right there.
That's awesome. Oh, it would be absolute disaster if I ever tried to do basketball. First of all, I'm too short to care about basketball, let alone play basketball. So I don't know any of the rules. So yeah, that would be terrible.
I would just be, he's bouncing it. There's so many terms in basketball, and I love basketball. I'd be talking about the elbow jumper. Look what they're doing at the top of the key. I know basketball.
See, I don't know what any of that means.
I would fear calling basketball.
Keep bouncing it, keep bouncing it.
Just like that. That would be me. He's going to the right. He keeps bouncing it.
Great.
Yeah,
She's bouncing it again.
It would not go well. That's what I would imagine. Welcome to the 9 o'clock hour. This is what we do in the 9 o'clock hour.
I do know that if you bounce it and stop and bounce again, that's a no-no.
It's a double dribble.
There it is.
See, the man
proud
is
of you, Victor.
The man is so enlightened when it comes to politics, American sports. When it comes to that stuff, he's like, listen, if I'm not playing it, I'm not really all that interested.
That's about the truth. You know, I kid you not. I remember the first time, and I was probably 8 or 9 years old, that my dad came to the park with me and some friends and their dads, and they had an American football, and that was the first time my dad had. I promise it had to be the first time he's seen one, let alone touch it, because he picked it up and he's looking at it like it's some foreign object,
like it's some sort of alien.
I never
alien
took
device.
him to the park again.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yep.
I don't know. My dad was he was a high school football player and played baseball and that sort of stuff. And then when I grew up, he was always playing softball. And so I was always around sports. And I remember the one time, there was a multitude of times, but the one that was disappointing to my dad early on was like when I was 7, and I was still like awkward 7-year-old. Like I just couldn't figure out catching anything.
Oh, wow.
All right? It's like I could hit a baseball, still couldn't catch a football. And they put me in a flag football league, and I remember they were like, well, he's fast. Let's see if we can get him the ball. And they toss it to me, and I try and catch. Just like I'm in the backfield, and I just drop it on the ground. And so it's a dead ball. And they're like, well, let's try it again. Toss it again. Try to catch it. Hits the ground. It's a dead ball. So they don't want all kids piling on each other. And those were the last 2 tosses I got in 7th grade flag football for the remainder of the season. No more. So it took a few years before I actually look, I can catch this thing and I can make some plays and do all that sort of stuff. By the way, our friend Stephanie wanted to make you aware, Victor. I think she's done with you right now. First off, we were talking about some issues with Social Security, but she did want to point out that she says, I do know cojones. Balls is just so much more fun to say.
Well, you are right, Stephanie. You are correct.
She just wanted to let you know that she's got the Spanish lingo down. She does habla, and she can't handle that. That's right. That's what she's able to do. All right, let's get to a first thing to know.
He tuned in to the morning show and said, give me the truth today. She poured her coffee, grabbed her phone, whispered, Lord, light up the way. They could hear the leftists talking. He said, this is my daily fight. If they take me to the office, they won't take my common sense alive. There was the morning.
All right, let's get into this because this isn't about the case in my mind. If you've been following along with this Lindsay Clancy case, first off, it ain't really a Friday 9 o'clock discussion because it's an awful story. A woman who clearly having some huge mental issues, including a variety of drugs she was put on. If you want to know the extent of the story or you're just catching up with it, sends her husband off to go get groceries. She'd been under observation, keeping an eye on her. And that's the point where she decided once he was gone, I'm going to kill all the kids. Does so, then she slits her throat and jumps out a window. She's now permanently injured, and now they're having a court case to determine what's going to be the process here as far as punishment. And so take that in a box, Victor, and let's put it aside. That's for the legal system to figure out, and that's ugly, and it's sad. That's what it is. I didn't understand all the women that showed up yesterday in support of this case. And largely it's what you would expect. White liberal women. And I get that I don't know if it's just a matter of you're trying to support someone that you feel like was going through a mental health issue, but because of the nature of the case and what's involved, I don't know how you can show up at anything like that and try and lend support.
I see my problem with this, and maybe it's just I cherish life.
Sure.
And when I see these white, I guess it's like the white Karens. It's the typical left wing.
Typically, statistically, that's what it is.
I can't help but think, are they there because children died? And these are look what Massachusetts just did. They want to, you can abort
up until birth.
Up until birth. That's murder. How can it not be? So I don't like to go there in this direction, but I can't help but think that these political people, they just can't drop politics.
Yeah.
So they want to bring politics into the court.
Because I would look at it as, this is a massive tragedy on an epic scale. And I'm willing to say, because of the mental health issues involved and the medications and everything else, I'm like, this is for doctors and a courtroom to settle and figure out what should happen here. I also wouldn't for a second think that I'm going there to somehow lend support to what is a massive tragedy as if it's a political event. And so I want you to take a listen. These are some of the Lindsay Clan, for lack of a better term, they're supporters. They're there to support. But what I ask is, what exactly are you supporting?
One of my sister-in-laws, it could be one of my best friends, and it could be me. So just here to support.
We are hearing her. We see that she tried everything. And I really do believe that she went into a state of psychosis.
I feel like the system failed her. She was begging for help and no one was there. I don't know if us being here will make her feel any better, but she's living in hell right now.
The first woman who's like, it could have been any one of us, could have been my sister, could have been me, could have been... Yeah, but it wasn't, and it's a huge tragedy. And what are you doing there? I'm here to lend support. For what?
For what?
For mental illness? For a horrible tragedy? This isn't like a school shooting, okay? This isn't like some terrorist attack. This isn't some church shooting or something. This is a family massive tragedy, and yet somehow it was like the Code Pinks of the world showed up to turn it into some sort of statement about women's health.
Right, and that's where I think, because of who it was, why I just think they're coming at it from a political. They want to get you emotional. They want you to react emotional. But what is really there? Like you said, why are they there? And I can't help but think that these in their heads, there's just something wrong there, and that political aspect of it. Why?
There's also a rubberneck sort of view of this. Like, okay. I know that some of the ladies are not going to care for this. That's okay. We're just having a discussion. It's just you and me, Friendly Los, you and I. True crime podcasts are huge these days, and the largest consumer of it are women. It's what it is. And I do believe that when you have these sort of cases, women gravitate towards it. And when they can get closer to it, there's something about it. In the same way that certain people follow rock bands, certain people follow crime stories, and it kind of fits the MO. Now, I'm not saying that maybe I am saying that if you happen to listen to true crime, you'd be like, I'd go right on down there. I'm not saying you would do that. But I do think that there is some sort of I want to be part of this scene, and I don't get that either. I think that that's some sort of gross rubbernecking.
Yeah, and that's a great way to put it, gross rubbernecking, because I don't understand. I support the court system, okay? Support mental health. Well, get active in your community. Talk to your representatives about how can we do better with health and mental health. I can understand that, but I just can't help but go. Maybe I just think the worst things of these type of activists. But look at Mangione. He has fan mail.
He has support for the murder of an executive of a health insurance company.
He took a father away from his kids.
Yes. And yet,
and from his wife.
There's a fan base.
There's a fan base.
It is. Yeah. It's a. I mean, we've always had this. Like, for instance, Ted Bundy had women that were lining up around the corner. There are serial killers that get married while they're in prison. There are those people that draw like this public fascination. I just wonder, when it's something so incredibly sad, how does that draw fascination? Is it you just want to be near something that's that dark and that hard to imagine? Do you want to be close to it because you're like, I can feel Satan here? Like, what is it to be wanting to be part of that?
Maybe there's something. I have often said that there's true evil in this world. I hate to say it, but there is, and maybe you hit on something there. I
enjoy reading and seeing stuff about serial killers. Like, I will watch those documentaries. I will read those books. Green River Killer, check it out. And part of it is just to understand, or at least get some experience with, okay, what was the psyche? What was the upbringing? What caused somebody to crack in this way? And that's the part I find fascinating. I don't find what they did in like the way they did it graphically fascinating. I have zero interest in that. I think, and we brought this up earlier on one of the shows this week, that when you plead guilty to a crime, motive is now out the window. You don't have to explain yourself, nor does the prosecution. Those college Idaho murders, those parents will never have the reason as to why Kohlberger went and did what he did. They'll never know why he did it. They'll never know what was his reasoning. They'll never know why those young people were targeted, because he pled guilty, and that was the end of that. It's like, okay, cool, here's your life sentence, and see you later.
See you later.
That's hard, but I think when it comes to this case, why she did it's not going to be all that difficult.
No.
She was in a crazy state. I don't think for 1 second that woman went ahead and just got up that morning and said, with a clear mind, hey, I'm going to kill all my kids. I was like, she was out of her mind. But now that's for the legal system and doctors to figure out. And it doesn't require all the Karens in the neighborhood to go down there.
Right. I mean,
you have the right to do it.
Right.
But it feels gross to me.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've spent every single time they would show those, the view of like, and here's what's going on outside of the courtroom. I'm like, why? In the same way, I had problems when people stood outside waiting for the Star Wars movies. I was like, why do we got to stand outside, people? Hey, the new iPhone's out. I'm like, I don't understand you. I don't understand Karen being at a trial for the murder of children.
No, I agree 100%. And it's if I came in contact with one, I'd ask, what is it?
What is the reason?
I wonder what answer I'd get.
I'm just here to support, Victor.
Yeah, that's probably the answer we would get.
I'm just here for support. Just another woman who needs support.
I want to know what you're supporting.
Yes. What are you exactly supporting? Women's health. Oh, gosh. Just throw so many of them out there.
That way. You're probably right.
Why are you standing outside for the new iPhone? Because I want it. Okay. Yeah, why do you want it so bad? Make my life better.
Okay,
what's it going to improve your life? Yes, exactly. I'm like, there's other answers here, I believe.
Do you have to be first?
Exactly.
Which clearly you're not going to be, because you're on the way back side of a line going around. I don't understand that either. I've never waited in line for anything like that.
By the way, it's a term called artificial scarcity. Like, why do clubs have a line out the door? It's to make you think it's exclusive to get in. The reason why Apple always wants the line out the door is to make you think like they're going to run out. It creates more excitement. It's called artificial scarcity. It's a business tactic. Don't fall for this thing. Just explaining it all to everybody. I'm giving you all the life hacks at this point. All right, 9 o'clock hour continues. That's Victor Los. When we get back, here's why I believe this candidate is going to be toast when he's trying to get into the Senate. We'll talk about that next week. Continue the Morning Xtra right here on Xtra 106.3. Good morning. Let's talk about Howard Brothers, because at Howard Brothers, they don't just sell outdoor power equipment. They live it. When you go over to Howard Brothers, you're going to be able to talk to people that are heavily invested in all the equipment in there. Why? They know it inside and out. Talk about zero-turn mowers, chainsaws, trimmers, blowers, everything in between. They've got the tools to tackle any job, and they've got the brands that you trust, not just as a homeowner, but the pros trust: Echo, Steel, Exmark, and they support them with the expert advice that you'll find in the store, parts and service. So whether you're a pro landscaper or a proud homeowner, let this be your go-to spot for all of your outdoor project needs. That's Howard Brothers, serving your community since 1955.
The world's watching to see if America still leads. And Extra 106.3 is always watching out for your values, your community, and your voice. Strength on the world stage starts with an honest conversation at home, and we're proud to have it every single day. Listen live or stream us anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app.
Be honest, when you pull into your driveway, does your house look rough, faded, cracked, outdated siding? Your neighbors have noticed. Just saying. Well, Nelson Exteriors will transform your home with beautiful new siding. Fast, professional, and done right the first time. And you're backed by the Trustdale $10,000 Make It Right guarantee. So there's literally zero excuse to keep living with it. Just search Nelson Exteriors. Your house will thank you. And so will your neighbors. Go to nelson-exteriors.com today.
I'm Patrick Brown, former Army Ranger in the United States Army. Like many service members, I had to make difficult choices when leaving the military. And the most challenging thing was finding purpose in a new phase of life. Housing, employment, education, way too many decisions and no idea where to start. That was until I met the Warrior Alliance. They made it simple. They listened and quickly connected me to the services I needed. And like a trusted friend, they even followed up to make sure I was squared away. Change a veteran's life today by donating at thewarrioralliance.org, helping warriors navigate to success after service.
There's never been a better time to fall in love with Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett. Now through August 31st, get award-winning vehicles and exceptional offers from a brand you trust during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Explore the full lineup of hybrid, electric, gas, and wilderness vehicles, including the trusted 2026 Subaru Forester and the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback. Every Subaru is made with love and built to last, with dependability and value coming standard. It's no surprise why Consumer Reports named Subaru the best overall automotive brand for 2 years in a row, based on reliability, safety, owner satisfaction, and road test evaluations. At Subaru of Gwinnett, there's a lot to discover and a lot to love. Get special low rates on select vehicles from August 1st through August 31st on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, or start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services. Visit Subaru.com/CR to learn more.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, August 21st, and here are your headlines. Ukraine says its war with Russia and Israel's conflict with Iran are part of the same broader fight, as Ukraine's ambassador to Israel says Iranian-made drones used by Russia have directly linked the two battlefields. Meanwhile, President Trump is urging countries to cut off Iran economically, warning there will be consequences for those providing a lifeline. Atlanta is officially out of the running to host the 2028 Democratic National Convention. The DNC has narrowed down the finalists to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, eliminating both Atlanta and Chicago. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and the Georgia Chamber expressed their disappointment over the decision. And finally, Georgia officials are warning about a farmers market scam. The State Department of Agriculture says a fake event advertised on Facebook as the 2026 Gate Atlanta Vendor and Artisan Market is designed to steal information. Officials say there is no such event scheduled at the Atlanta State Farmers Market this weekend. It'll be a high of 92 and a low of 70 with a small chance of storms in the metro area this evening. The Extra 106.3 headlines. I'm Bryce Gobert.
Thank you, the Gobert, you fearsome animal, you. Just rawr. He's just so rough and tumble, ready for a big weekend.
Rawr. I like that. Rawr.
He's, well, you know, it's we talk. He's a fearsome Gobert.
Rawr.
He can't be stopped either. Speaking of who can't be stopped,
won't be.
There's also Marty, our friend who, good, strong listener, and Marty asked the question about when we were talking about the Lindsey Clancy supporters. Not so much the case, talking about the supporters. And as he pointed out, how many of the supporters that were supporting Clancy were paid to try and turn this political? At this point, I never doubt any of this stuff, ever. I don't know if you know this story, Victor, because I've never gotten a chance to work with you and tell this story. But so I'm in the airport in St. Louis. This was this year, coming back from a volleyball tournament. And there was a guy who was, you know how when you're at the airport and the rows go back to one another, and so you're facing away from each other. Well, we're in a row, and so we're staring at another row. So it's like, we're all like 7 feet apart from each other, and here's this guy, and here's where I'm sitting. And this guy is on the phone, and he is an organizer for No Kings. And he's talking about how they're having problems with their AM group and that there's not enough right now and that, we're having a hard time getting people out here. He's like, the PM group, we think we're going to be able to get enough. And so he's helping put together the No Kings deal for St. Louis. And I end up posting this on X, and I get all these, like, speaking of stuff that never happens for $500. Oh, that never happened. I was like, yeah, bro, I took the picture of the guy and sent it to Tug. I was like, and so I saw it play out in real time. And what his issues were, it's like, hey, we don't have the money, we don't have the funding, we don't have we can't get our normal people out here. So there is a faction of people that are paid to do this stuff. Now, I don't know if any of them were at that rally for Clancy, but you never know.
Oh, there's no doubt there's money in this.
There's always.
So I got to ask you, how did you refrain from going, dude, I got to ask you some questions?
Honestly?
Like, where's the king in this country? We have a Constitution Republic.
I am away from this radio show. The only time I talk politics is if somebody wants to talk politics. I never inject myself into it. As I've told Tug the story, the audience knows. So the last time I was punched in the arm in a bar, like 2.5 years ago. And what had happened is I was sitting down with a friend of mine, both of volleyball dads, and we were at the bar down the street from the facility. We're grabbing some food, having a beer. The girls were practicing for like 4 hours, so we're just going to do something. And this woman, quite liberal, was basically taking this guy to the woodshed. He was drunk. She's firing questions at him. He can't explain himself, and he's all over the board. And I'm just sitting there quietly, and I don't know. She just kind of looked at me, and she goes, well, what do you think about this?
Uh-oh.
And I go, you don't want to know what I think about any of this. She's like, what do you mean? I go, well, it'd be like jumping in the lion's cage. And she wanted to talk about Kamala Harris. And I said, okay. I said, and I'm complimentary. I go, clearly you've thought a lot about this, and you feel very secure in your vote. But I just want to ask you respectfully, what is your favorite policy over the course of her career that Kamala Harris has instituted? And she's like, favorite policy. And this is where, I was like, I told you didn't want me in this conversation.
Electric school buses.
I was like, you don't want me in this conversation, lady. And so when she got up, as she was walking, she punched me in the arm and just kept walking. So just kind of how it all played out. So, yeah. Thank you, Marty. Thank you for taking part in the show, as always. Let's get into this here, because I do believe that Abdullah Muhammad El Sayed, I think he's in a lot of trouble in Michigan. I know that you have all this discussion of like, oh, look, he's ahead right now. Okay. We'll see. Because what you don't have right now is the accurate polling of Democrats who have no intention of voting for El Sayed. And so I want to play this for you. This is Karen Whitsett. Now, she's a Democrat representative. She's in their house. And when this discussion point comes up of who to vote for in the interest of Michigan, not in the interest of Muslims in Michigan, not just in the interest of Democrats in Michigan or DSA members in Michigan, the entirety of Michigan, this is what the Democrat had to say about it.
I do not think people really realize what is on the line. You will lose your health insurance if the other candidate gets in office. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is what Medicare for All means. So if you enjoy going to ER now and sitting for 6 hours, get ready to enjoy that a whole lot longer because you may be sitting there for 6 weeks. That means you will be in a clinic, in a hospital, wherever they say that you go. Once again, you say you don't want government in your business. Well, the government will be controlling your health care. They will control your doctors. They will control your medication. They will control your visits. They will control everything. So if for no other reason, common sense prevails that Mike Rogers is the candidate for you.
That's from a Democrat.
Wow.
Because Medicare for All. Now, I said this to the audience yesterday when I was doing the show. And Victor, I think every now and then our job is like, let's deliver some hard truth to people. You know?
Definitely.
Like, let's deliver some hard truth.
Mm-hmm.
And my point was that for everyone who is pointing out Medicare for All, that's DSA. If there's any Democrats that are echoing it, they're lying to you. They have no intention of it. None. They know it's a losing issue. It's a way to get people out to the polls. In the same way that we were fed, hey, we're going to have massive amounts of people that are deported from this country. I mean, that was mass deportations. That was sold to us. And we were like, I'm going to the polls. They're going to deport everybody. They're going to deport 50 million people. They were never going to deport 50 million people. And so that's their version of it, is Medicare for All from the DSA, mass deportations for us. But to hear someone who is a Democrat saying, if you like your health insurance, this isn't like Obama saying, like, you can keep it. They're like, if you want to actually have decent health care, or at least the standard you are used to now, you can't vote for El Sayed.
That's 100% because, and I love the way you put it, because her being a Democrat to be able to say that, because sometimes I wonder about the Democrat Party, because Obamacare was designed to fail. It was never designed to succeed.
To lead us to single payer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And for her to come out, because that's the first time I've heard that. And that's impressive. And this is, you're listening to somebody, I've seen socialized medicine. I've seen this one payer stuff. And I watched it basically kill my uncle. My uncle went in for a routine stent service and never came out. And when I went to see him, you walk into a single payer government hospital, because that's what it is. It's a government hospital. They're not private anymore. Well, I walked into this place. There were people everywhere. There were people waiting to be seen. There were not enough beds. They had gurneys all throughout the hallway from the minute you walk in the door, because there was no room for these people, because they were just waiting. Some of them for a simple cough, some of them for a sneeze, some of them had really serious problems, and the beds were rusty. I can't explain the horror that I saw in these hospitals, and it blows my mind that there are people in this country that are like, yeah, I want that. And the only reason they say it is because they've never seen it. They don't know, you know?
I firmly believe that I call it pie in the sky whenever I bring up some of this stuff, that there is look, it's beautiful, and it's all going to work. And here's what it is.
Free.
It's free. Oh, my God. Look what happens. The simple law of economics will let you know that if you're getting something for free, it's because it's lesser quality.
Yeah. And there's less of it.
Yes. That's just simple numbers. There is no such thing as quality that comes for nothing.
For nothing.
No. At all. Especially even in countries that are far more socialist, the people who've lived through it will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that stuff that comes for free, there's a reason why it's free.
Yeah. Well,
you know who has the nice stuff? The party. The actual party has the nice stuff.
The elitist.
Yeah. And guess what they're not doing? They're not sharing with you.
No, because they don't want you part of their group. There's never going to be enough room for you, the peasant, in the elite world.
Yes.
And that's why I always say socialism is not for the socialists, it's for you. And communism is not for the communists, it's for you.
I'll give you a perfect example to jump right off of that. When we were looking at the members of the New York DSA, and the one that was most notable that was recent ends up being a young man who is a Yale grad who's never had a real job, who went and studied art, sculpture. Now, here's the thing.
Somehow knows everything.
His dad paid his rent. He ends up being, what he did is he aligned himself with an electrician's union, one of the IBEWs, but out of New York. Now, he never went through the apprenticeship process to complete it. So what he's done is he's sold himself as, I'm a common man, I'm a man of the people, I'm an electrician. Well, no, you're not. He lives in a $1.5 million home that his parents bought him. And when you find the property, one of them that they own in Florida, do you see what the monthly rent is on that, Victor? It's $11,000.
Wow.
Okay? That is what Gustavo Gordillo.
He's so down for the struggle.
He's just a regular guy who's pushing tax the rich. Wow. None of it. It's all fake.
And he can say this stuff because he knows none of his policies would ever reach his parents or him.
Ever.
And this is where I used to do a segment on my show, and maybe I should bring it back, called You First. Well, this is a situation. Why doesn't he give up his $11,000 a month penthouse or whatever he's living in?
Sure, whatever. Your parents have this wealth.
Yeah.
And again, there's a big difference between us on this one. Not you and me and Gustavo. Because I look at this very simply. I am very happy that you have a property that you have to rent for $11,000 a month in your family, and one of many. The weird part is Gustavo is the one who's talking about people who have properties that are $11,000 a month and how we need to get a hold of them.
Yeah, we need to tax them out of existence.
Let's go over to the phones. This is Patricia. Patricia, you join us right here on the Morning Extra. Thank you for your time this morning, Patricia.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. We were talking about health care for all.
Go for it.
Saul Alinsky years ago basically took Lenin's theories and came up with 8 steps, and then you will be communist. Obama was a huge fan of Saul Alinsky, and Hillary Clinton did her thesis on Saul Alinsky. But the first premise is you must control health care. The first of the 8 steps. The second one, of course, is keep people in poverty. The third is keep them, required to the government. The fourth is control education. But the number one premise for the basis of communism is to control health care.
Appreciate the call there, Patricia. Now, I do own in my home Rules for Radicals.
I was just going to ask Patricia if she read Rules for Radicals.
That sits on the bookshelf. First off, my bookshelf says a lot of weird things about me because you'll get here's Tom Brokaw, The Greatest Generation. You'll get some Stephen Ambrose D-Day books. You'll then start finding, why does he have all this serial killer stuff? Why does he have Mindhunter mixed in with, the book on the Constitution followed by Rules of Radicals?
Rules of Radical.
There's a lot of different stuff in there where you're like...
Do you also have a copy of Mein Kampf?
Okay, so I don't have Mein Kampf. I do have, I'm trying to remember the name of the book, The Rise of the Fourth Reich. Oh. Which was actually about the COVID tyranny that occurred from 2020 into 2023. Rise of the Fourth Reich. They're like, what is that about? I'm like, it's not about Nazis.
And you don't have a tattoo.
It's kind of about Nazis, but it's not about Nazis. It's funny you mentioned that. So Tug is the one person on the show with a tattoo. And when it was actually Neil Bortz who was asking him about it, He's like, yeah, I've got a son on my shoulder, and I go, yeah, Neil, he used that to cover up his Totenkopf. Poor Tug. He just...
I bet Bortz had a heyday with that one.
Oh, he thought it was hilarious. He was like, use the sun to cover up the Totenkopf, huh? That was what Graham... To think. Wow. And just as you said, that faction of people went, I know he's got a Nazi tattoo, but he's not a real Nazi, right?
Really, really, really think about this. And this is for all you listeners out there. And I know most of the listeners to Tug and Los, this show, and the rest of Extra 106 shows, I know you guys are astute people. But you probably know some people who maybe not be so astute. But think about it. There's a party in this country that actually said, hey, we want that guy.
So I call...
it's crazy.
Well, I call our audience, and this includes, obviously with your audience and our audience when it comes to all of Extra, I call it the 1%, because there's oftentimes, and I get on Tug now and then whenever, for the audience out there, whenever you hear me say, explain it to me like I don't know anything about it. Because Tug will jump into a story, and because he's into it, Bryce's into it, like we all know about it, and he starts kind of in the middle of the story. And so the reason why I say that is because there's a ton of people that we're trying to talk to that aren't in the 1%. For instance, when I brought up with my wife, and she typically votes Democrat. Now, I think that might be changing a little bit. Just kind of seeing how things are. Listen, I don't think she's going to lose her day pass or anything, but it's kind of the direction things are looking like it's going. But I brought up with her, I go, hey, so there's a candidate, over in Maine. And I was like, yeah, they found out he had a Nazi tattoo. And she goes, what? I was like, yeah. She goes, are you serious? Like, did he get out of the race? I go, no. I was like, in fact, it took until, in fact, there was a news article that was in the New York Times that talked about how he's just a little bit misunderstood. I go, then there was a follow-up article that said that if anyone broke into his girlfriend's house, he would rape them, but, quote, not in a gay way. Yeah. She goes, and that's when he got out of the race? I go, no. And the more we went, the more she was like, what is wrong with those people? And I was like, ding, welcome to my big tent.
Yeah, welcome to your big tent. Yes.
Exactly. I was like, you just have to have a little bit of sanity to figure out which one of these is disqualifying to whether or not you should hold office, Victor.
My goodness.
But that's why I say it's like sometimes our job is to explain the entirety of the story so that when you start hearing about it, you go, that's ridiculous.
And that's that. I love it because what a great that just sounds great. And that's when he got out. No, that's not when he got out. Because that should be everyone's response. But think about it. What did fake Chief Nakahoma Warren? What did she say? That's my guy. That's my kind of guy.
It's my kind of guy.
These Democrats were ready for him to be part of their big tent.
He would post naked pictures of himself in an app used to pick up teenagers. That's when he got out. That's when he got out of the race, though, right? No, that's not when he got out of the race. That was not when either.
That's my kind of man.
Thank you, Elizabeth Warren. All right, on our phone is Charles. Charles, hold on there. We will get to you right after this break. I think you got a really good point to make as we're going to close out this show. So hold tight. Coming up, more of the Morning Extra right here on Extra 106.3.
Extra 106.3 Sports, powered by 680 The Fan.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Friday, August 21st. The Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon 2-0, the final in the Braves makeup game with the White Sox from earlier this season. Grant Holmes goes 6 innings and gives up 1 hit. The Braves will now be in Milwaukee this weekend for a matchup of top National League teams as they take on the Brewers. It'll be Chris Sale on the mound tonight. He'll be opposed by Jacob Mazeroski. First pitch is set for 4:10. You can hear that game on our sister station, 680 The Fan, and for free on the Fan app. From the NFL, 3 more games on the schedule tonight for week 2 of the preseason. The Steelers host the Jets. That's a 7 o'clock kick. The Jaguars host the Panthers at 7:30. Then the Broncos host the Packers at 9:30. As for the Falcons, they will play Saturday afternoon against the Indianapolis Colts on the road. That game will kick off at 1 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Buying an engagement ring should not feel rushed or overwhelming or like you are being sold to. At Solomon Brothers, we offer private appointments with experts who take the time to understand what matters to you. The largest selection, honest pricing, guidance you can trust. Because for over 44 years, we have helped Atlanta choose jewelry that marks life's most important chapters. Solomon Brothers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982. Book a private appointment online.
Hey, it's Front Office Los with Tom, the honest car guy. Let's talk about the new way to buy a car in 2026. Tell me how you can save clients thousands of dollars in this process.
I got a customer here, Jeff Everhart. I met him today first time because I delivered his 25 model Honda Pilot, fully loaded with only 16,000 miles on it. Jeff, answer Los's question about that one.
It was actually shocking. I mean, you hear the advertisements, you want to believe it, and then when you go through with the sale, and there's no extras, there's no dock fees, there's no storage fees, no transportation fees. The price I was given was the price that I paid plus their honest fee. I did save thousands of dollars, and it was a very quick sale.
Well, we appreciate that.
And did it from my living room.
Did it from your living room.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Calling all contractors. Stovall & Company Wholesale Landscape Supply is here for you.
We've been family owned and operated for more than 75 years, and we just opened our 11th location in Canton, Georgia.
We are proud to provide all your wholesale irrigation, nursery, and landscape supply needs.
We are partnered with Keystone Hardscape to offer a wide variety of products to enhance any outdoor living space.
Here at Stovall, we have it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com or visit any of our convenient locations throughout North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Tom Stratton from Tom and Jerry's Roofing, a 10-year veteran of the U.S. Army. When my best friend Jerry and I opened Tom and Jerry's Roofing, we wanted our company to be an outlet for good. So with every roof we do, a portion goes to various veteran services and charities. Tom and Jerry's Roofing is passionate about giving you the best service and quality work possible, and that work turning into service for our heroes. So if you need a new roof or a repair, call us. We're Tom and Jerry's Roofing, where every roof helps veterans. TomandJerry'sRoofing.com.
Did you know you can add renewing your driver's license or ID card to your grocery list? The Georgia Department of Driver Services now offers self-service kiosks at select Kroger and Publix locations. From renewing or replacing to updating your address, the kiosks will issue a temporary paper license, and you'll receive a permanent card in the mail. Skip the line and save time by adding your driver's license renewal to your grocery list today. You'll even get a $5 discount on your order. Visit dds.georgia.gov to learn more. Sponsored by the Georgia Department of Driver Services.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-5351. 800-499-5351. 800-499-5351.
Results may vary. Daryl says if you want to confuse your doctor, put on rubber gloves the same time he does.
And all his good and pants off.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Now we have reached the final segment of the Morning Extra. No Tug, still Los. Have Victor, though.
Yeah.
I feel like Victor, typically when it comes to this show, he's like riding sidecar. He's just waiting for like, which one of y'all is out? Because then I'm going to start working on taking that spot away for that time period. Tug's got a lot of vacation coming up, so get used to it. Victor and I, and every now and then, maybe if Victor's not available, we can do something else.
I'll have to work on my twang. Because
you got to sell it.
Tug's got a good Southern twang.
Man, he walks in. I'm not kidding. He is the mayor of the Battery. He walks into anywhere around here, and Tug is so naturally disarming to start with. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not a mean bone in that guy's body.
I can't.
And so when he walks into any room, he turns it into, that's why we have Dark Tug. Like, we have to actually make up a character that's like mean Tug. Or the moment where Tug brings up, let's say, for instance, a woman in the office. You know, every now and then he might say something that's inappropriate.
And she slimmed back down.
Oh, no.
Wow, you should lose some weight.
That's Dark Tug.
Dark Tug.
Has she slimmed back down? But Tug walks into any room and he's everybody's best friend within like 90 seconds. That's what he does. So, yeah. So that's who you're stabbing in the back. Why don't we play another Victor promo? Should we get another one of those in?
Let's make sure.
Let's make sure we sell this thing. Here we go. Victor's coming back on Monday. This is what he drives home for everybody. No, we've had a lot of fun. It's been a good time this morning. And so thank you to Victor for coming in and just keeping up the normal vibe. The vibe we always talk about. We're going to talk about some serious things. We want to laugh. We want to have some fun. And especially on a Friday, I feel like we've been able to do that. Let's go over to the phone. Hopefully, do we still have Charles on the line? Charles, you join us right here on the Morning Extra. Thank you for your time, Charles.
Good morning. I was telling your screener that my wife grew up in communist Romania. Sometime I'll have her come on the show if you're willing, and she can tell you some very educational stories about the people's paradise of communist Romania. Be enlightening for the communist citizens in the DSA. But anyway, her folks are pretty high up the socio-educational ladder. Father-in-law's a mechanical engineer, mother-in-law's a nurse. Didn't matter. If you went to see the doctor, you wanted to be seen with any kind of timely experience, you better have a basket of eggs or a bottle of vodka or a carton of American cigarettes. Otherwise, you're sitting in the hall until whenever. You go to the hospital, you bring your own catgut for surgery. This is under Ceausescu's communist Romania. This is what these guys think is fabulous. This is what happens when the elite, as you point out, the elite run it. They weren't. The elite certainly weren't bringing their own catgut to the hospital. But everyday folks, even folks like I say, like my in-laws, pretty high up the socio-educational ladder, didn't matter. That's how it went.
Charles, thank you for the call, and we're going to get you on hold because I would love at any point if we can get her for a few minutes just to talk about what that background was. Yeah. I'd love to go ahead and talk to your wife about life in Romania, because if there was ever an example for what communism really delivers, I think any of those Soviet Union satellite countries where it's definitely top down and it's what's left for you.
Yeah.
And just as Charles is pointing out, you better bring your own stuff. But when he says the elite, here's the crazy part about it. That means they're party members. They're not intellectually elite. They're not somehow where they've been able to create some sort of industry so they become the elite. It's just early party members. The joke, I don't know if did you ever see, it's an HBO miniseries, and it was basically on basically the meltdown of the facility that occurred there in Ukraine. And
Chernobyl.
Yeah, with Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So one of the officials, and they do it in the documentary series, one of the officials they go to see to talk to about what they think's going on in Chernobyl, he's a higher up. And the scientist who's trying to talk to him, he's paying really no attention to her. And he points out, well, you were a shoe salesman before this happened. It's like, but he got in at the party at the right time.
Yep.
And so that party member who might only know about Nikes gets the health care, and your intellectual, your smart, your contributor society do not.
Do not. You know, there's something that I say often, and this is good for this time right now. The leaders, the communists, and it goes for today's Democrats, your politicians, Republicans too, your people in Washington. But really, really, when you look at communism and socialism, these people will never live like they deem the rest of us to live. They will never bear the burdens that they are going to put on the rest of us.
It's just another socioeconomic constructive situation. Yeah. As much as some people will be like, well, it's unfair in capitalism because people fail. Well, people fail in communism too. There's no middle class, and it's not even so much failure. It's just there's no such thing as success.
Right.
None.
No.
Zip.
You have what the government
all.
tells you have.
Right. That's it. That's how it's going to be. And so these hopes and these dreams by these devout socialists and communists, it's because they firmly believe, hey, I'm going to get brought along for the ride. I'll be in the party. That's going to be my level to success. Because as you put it, you got a degree that didn't matter, and now you got a bunch of debt.
Well, you look at just with what's going on in the Democrat Party, the similarities, and that's what's scary. That with if you just look at the history of communism, socialism, and the direction that the Democrats are headed in. I mean, look, Kamala told you can't have a gas stove. What does she have?
Gas stove.
A gas stove.
Yeah, we saw it in the background when she was shooting a video. I was like, wait a minute, didn't you say I couldn't have a gas? You've got a gas stove.
Right there.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, Victor, for coming on in. We will work together again on Monday.
Definitely.
Looking forward to it. Thank you to Bryce. Tug is out there somewhere, and I thank you too. And thank you to the audience. Thank you, Charles. Thanks for getting on in. Patricia as well. All the rest of you. We will talk to you on Monday. Take it easy. Have a good weekend.
The Kimmer Show is live until 6 p.m. and Extra 106.3 has the rest of your night covered with Jesse Kelly up next. Fox Across America with Jimmy Fela at 9 p.m. and The Guy Benson Show at midnight. All live on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.